This is RPMMO Radio.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
A podcast all about roleplay and MMORPGs.
I like what you got. Good job.
With your hosts, Ashen Phoenix, Sid, Jazz, Strafe, and Kishmas.
Everybody f*** off. We need to go on a quick adventure.
Hello, role players. Welcome to RPMMO Radio. This is our 48th episode, just 2 away from 50, and no one can believe it less than me. Expectations and allowances. I, of course, am one of your hosts, Ashen Phoenix, and with me, as usual, are the crew, Sib.
Hello.
Jazz.
Howdy.
And Strafe.
Hey, folks.
Excuse me. Fortunately, Kishmas, as usual, is not here as of this moment, but we are expecting him at any time. Okay, nope, not yet. So, who knows? It could be at any time. Nope, still not. No, guess not.
What about now?
Nope. Still nothing. Well, that's a bummer. That's very disappointing. We are, of course, a weekly show which goes live every Saturday night at 7 Central Time. That's 8 o'clock for you Easterners, something in Mountain Time, and 5 for Pacific. Or specific, if you say it wrong. So, you can get that at twitch.tv/RPMMORadio. You can also watch all sorts of stuff there, like our show every Saturday, because we actually don't do a lot of streaming at the moment, because it's really, really hard. You gotta do stuff, and we're lazy. Mostly it's just that we only play the one game, Jazz.
I'm not! Sort of. I mean, I'm not playing the game, it's on.
Wow,
He's totally fibbing.
Guilty conscience. I was just saying
I'm
that
not lying!
I just said that she only plays one game, and all of a sudden it sounds like I brought out the Spanish Inquisition.
Your cheating heart will tell on you.
Seriously, wow. Man, I'd hate to see what happens if she went into a confessional for the first time.
You would. It would be
4
bad.
hours later in the whole gallon of holy water. And
Begallon.
a bagallon. It's like
A begallon.
it's like a regular gallon that's been bejeweled.
Bejeweled.
Oh, it's a bejeweled begallon.
It's a begallion. So, yes, because when you flub, I'm going to bring it out.
What? I don't flub.
You're doing a commercial tonight. Oh, there will be flubs.
Yeah, there will be flubs.
Yeah, that's right. Get me with you. So, and of course, we are a podcast, so which means after this, you can always catch us as a podcast. If you don't catch the full show, or you don't want to ever catch us live, which I would understand, really, you can do that at like Apple Podcast, Android Podcast app, Spotify, Podbean. You can actually even watch it over at YouTube. We have it. Excuse me. We have it there as well. It automatically uploads, and even on Twitch, it holds on to the last few episodes for at least a couple months. But I also want to give a special thanks to all of our Patreon donors, including our new one, TK Dean, who we heard from last week and is from Ireland.
Very nice.
Woo!
Yeah. See, I've been practicing.
Love that.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
You can also hear it on Spotify, which I reviewed, and I heard everything you said last week.
I'm
know what
amazed
you're
that you were
talking
able to remember that through your cocaine-induced haze.
There was no haze, my friend.
Oh, there was a haze. They had it bulldozed, actually. The blood haze is gone. We lost it.
Oh, I know that. That haze, yeah, that one's gone.
I don't know what haze you thought I was talking about.
Purple haze.
Purple rain.
Reefer Madness! Which is
I was
about
thinking
probably
Jimi
the
Hendrix,
past year
but
in
yeah,
Oklahoma.
okay.
So, hey, good for you, Oklahoma. They're all freaking out about it. It's like, just... At this point, I'm just like, you know what? Just pass it so people don't have to go to jail and have their records completely destroyed for weed. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Hey, Ashton, we had a question in the twit. Twitch. The
Oh
Twitch
dear.
channel. It's gonna be one of those nights for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you're making fun of me. That's God's punishment. Tongue
So
tied.
I believe it is on. It is in podcast by the next day, isn't it?
It's
I put
Spotify.
it up in the. I do
I mean,
put it up in the
Spotify.
morning. I think the only reason I'm pretty sure once I put it out there, it might not reach all of them at the exact same time because, like, say for example, Apple, like it only updates, like checks the list every like couple hours, I think. So I usually do it about 7 in the morning our time zone, so 8 Eastern, which is like 5 Pacific, 6 Mountain. So typically, yeah, it goes up pretty early, and usually by middle of the day, I'd imagine it's on every podcast, different thing like Spotify, which is a very popular one. A lot of people apparently like watching on Spotify enough that for some reason Spotify has its own little like, here's how many people watched it on Spotify, which none of the others get because there's like 5 bajillion of them.
And I will
outside of
say,
Apple.
we're the coolest podcast on Spotify. The rest of them are pretty tear bad.
Have you listened to some, or are we
I
actually?
just looked at the titles and went, nope. MMORPG Radio? Hey, I recognize those guys.
Yeah, and they're awful too, but we're still better than most of them, which is saying
Right.
a lot.
That's right.
Yeah, I will say we've have friends that have done them, and the like audio. I've worked very hard for our audio quality to be as good as we can get it.
Yes. He's had sleepless
man.
nights over our audio.
Yeah. Like poor Rohanar, we don't have our call screen today, so if you do call in, which you could do at rpmradio.com/discord, join our Discord channel. Go to the caller waiting room, and Sib will jump up there real quick and make sure you're a real person and also not a racist bigot.
Yes, I will. I will be the call screen.
Right. So yeah, he's having
But
some
we will
problems.
miss our Rahanar.
Yeah, but he still gets a
He'll
shout
be
out.
back.
He gets an A for effort. And people wonder why kids have a problem with the educational system when we have things like A for effort and what was the three R's, reading, writing, W, and
Yeah, I know.
arithmetic, A.
We don't even
Arithmetic,
start
yeah.
with R. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the S for satisfactory? I remember that one.
Oh,
And
yeah.
The U.S. unsatisfactory.
I got a lot of those. I thought I was just really patriotic.
You were, babe. You were.
Yeah. Wait, mine always said USA. Was that, like, as a kid, was that unsatisfactory asshole? Oh. Oh. My teachers were mean.
I would think it'd be more unsatisfactory altogether.
No, I believe it means unsatisfactory attendance. At least it does at ours.
But I never went. How could I be unsatisfactory if I was
That,
never there?
that would be it right there.
No, because I couldn't. I couldn't be satisfied because I wasn't there.
Uh-huh. So that's how it works. And trust me, I would know because I missed 45 days a year. So I was gone a lot.
Reefer madness.
The queen of the dropouts.
Oh, God, I was
All the
bad.
truth comes out.
And they would call my grandma and go, so where's Jazz? And she'd go, she's sick.
She's
They're
been
like, again?
smoking the reefer.
Totally sick. Really.
In more than one way.
She
Smiling
lied
face,
for me all the time until my
says-
mom
he
would
says
call,
it's-
and then she'd just hand it to me, to the phone to me, and go, "It's your mother." Thanks, Graham.
Smiling says it's an unsat ass factory. Then again, Smiling is also one of those people that thinks harass is 2 words. So nothing but
We
love,
love
brother.
Smiley. Yes,
We do.
We love Smiley.
Shoot, there was other stuff. Oh yeah, so we got TK Dean joining us as a Patreon donor, which seriously, dude, appreciate it. And of course, those 2 guys that are raid boss level, who are not only attractive but equally sexy in their own way. That guy Laza and a Truth Bob. You can do that
Yeah.
over at patreon.com/RPMMO Radio.
And they are still Sib's favorites.
That's true. It's very sad. Nobody wants to be here. Nobody wants to be liked by you. And as your
Maybe they should be
husband,
Jazz favorites.
I understand.
What did you say about being my husband?
Nothing. Why? That it was probably going to be a short time period, maybe?
We are coming up on 10 years.
We
That
are.
10-year itch.
Yeah.
Is
Wait,
it 7-year itch?
It was the 7-year itch.
Oh.
Oh, I've been scratching like crazy. Like I'm just
Yeah, that's probably that bug bite you got.
seriously, that itches like I got another one right here on my hand. It's right there. It's just a tiny little thing. It itches. I put stuff on it, you know. So, yeah, bugs are awful. Just don't go outside. This is why we're gamers. This is why we role play and not like as LARPers, because the LARPers have to go outside and they get exercise. And that's awful.
God forbid.
Yeah, some of them
you
do.
Looked at my pasty whiteness. If I pull
Others are
my
chasing
sleeve,
you down
if I
with-
pull my sleeve up here from where I do at work,
Don't
it's
do
just
that. Don't
look
do
at
that
that.
on the
Look at that.
Don't do that.
I know the
Don't do
camera's
that.
probably
No.
burning out
Oh
right
my
now.
god. My
Yeah.
retinas are gone.
Yeah,
I have no retinas.
the light filter on it just went to like it just burnt out. It's just instantly burned the.
I
camera.
apologize to all of you that watch this.
The other one. Let me show the
Right
other
on.
one just so I can complete the. Look
no,
at the
no.
gun show. Look at the gun show. Bam. Yeah, Second Amendment right there. Oh, I think I strained something. Don't flex. That hurts. Yeah.
So many comments.
I should probably stretch before. I should probably stretch before I flex. Just saying.
Yeah.
'Cause
You just ran
with these
TK
mammoths,
away. You just
know.
ran TK. He had to go because you were showing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, or he has to work at 5 a.m. and it's already like
No, it was
3
because
there.
of you. We lost him because of you.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't be the first one we've lost. Won't be the last because of me. I lose everything I love. You can hurry.
Try
up
harder,
and go.
scrub.
You can hurry up and go now. So anyway, I don't think we had anything else. There's Patreon. So blah, 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 and maybe Kishmas will be here now. Nope, still nothing. All right, well, Jazz, go first.
We're not even gonna pretend anymore, are we?
Pretend what? I don't know what you're
okay.
talking about. He just picked you randomly out of this hat.
Mm-hmm. Sure, you know I can see you, right?
How about now? Is that? You can't see what I'm doing now. Oh my.
Okay,
Anyway.
stop that.
You're freaking out your wife. That says something.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be the first time. It's like Robert Downey Jr. getting on that Iron Man costume. This is, to be honest, you've seen me in worse positions than this.
Okay, so role play this week. I had, let's see, on Sunday was. I'm trying to remember who I took there. It says a lot that I don't remember.
You were there on Sully. I will say that.
That's what I thought. Okay, so we were there. I was hoping to bump into Dallas Torrey, but he didn't log in. So I was sitting in my little corner, and all of the servants folks, there was like 3 of them sitting over in a corner. They left the corner and came and sat near Sully. She was all like, eyebrow up. Well, hello, can I help you? Because they've never given her so much as a eyebrow. They've never even noticed her, as far as I know. Although Rashir and her talk quite a bit, and his wife. I mean, they've had, and of course, Carvala and a couple of others and Civ's tunes have come over and talked to her. But obviously, we all know each other, and
Yeah.
they met and they're more social. So it was really kind of strange to suddenly have someone from the servants come over and talk to Sully, and they immediately started kind of picking at her in a minor way. I didn't care, but it was just kind of funny because it was like
Testing the waters.
Yeah, and she was just like, she was definitely avoided all of their various quirks and answered all the right ways because she knows how to do that. And then Rajir showed up, and they scattered the minute he showed up. So it was really kind of funny because he showed up, they went silent, and about 5 minutes after he got there, they left.
Oh, see, and that keeps happening to him, and that sucks.
I think it's because they were being kind of confrontational, and I don't think he would have liked that.
Oh.
Would be my guess, because all the questions in the snide comments kind of vanished the minute he showed up.
Yeah, but
and I'm
still
sure it was all I
sucks.
see, but it does
Yeah.
still suck. Yes, but it's what happens. I mean, when I played Vodka,
Right.
that happened to her a lot. I mean, she would show up and everybody's like, "Uh-oh, mom's here," you know, and then they all have to either behave or leave.
Yeah.
So it's not uncommon, but it is. Whoopsie! Guess what I forgot to do?
Strangle your bird.
Strangle my bird. Yeah,
You're supposed to put a blanket over their cage. I hear that actually works with kids too.
it doesn't work with kids. I've tried it.
If they're small enough and the blanket's heavy enough. Oh, wow, that got dark.
Good to know. So that was Sunday. Regier left, and then it got really kind of quiet. So I left. I logged
Hold on, he
early
could
and
be
went
here
to
now. Nope, he's still not here. Continue.
Monday was ordinator training, which I missed. I forget what happened, but I had a hellish Monday. So I didn't even get into game until like 8:30. So I missed
and
ordinator training.
It was actually a neat one. It was different. It was Voline did it, and it was a guar training, like cavalry training.
I had really wanted that. I wanted to come to that. I thought it sounded like a lot of fun, and
it was a cool thing. Since I'll just tell you what you missed.
okay.
But like we all got on our guars, or in case of Straffe, his giant beetle thing, because he doesn't have a guar, but it's still Morrowind, so they're like, yeah, just go with it or pretend, whatever. And then we just we got lances and we charged on our guars at a dummy, and depending on how well you rolled, said if you actually hit it or not. And then we did that twice, one with the lance, then once with the sword, and then we did like slow motion like maneuvers in a V shape. We didn't actually run because running is already hard. Walking in formation is hard enough. Running is impossible. So we quote unquote ran. It was kind of like watching those old $8 million man things. It was like wah, 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 wah. Because we're just all slowly walking in a V formation with these guar, and it looked
Everybody
hilarious.
walks and runs at a different speed depending on their build, so that makes sense that it would be really hard.
Yeah, but it was still fun. It was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
it was new and different, which is what I thought it was really cool. No one's ever really done guard chaining before, so bonus. All right, carry on. Sorry. Side.
So that was Monday. Tuesday was poetry night, which ended up getting canceled because nobody showed up but the three of us. It was just bad timing, I think, all the way around. Everyone showed up like 3 hours later. Did I miss it? Yeah. Just a little. And then I ended up working on the roleplay for my Cial arc. She got her ass literally handed to her. So I had a lot of fun rolling out the combat and writing out, what actually happened to her. Because when I'm rolling against myself, as you can imagine, dice hate me already. So
it was basically a giant sissy fight.
It was awful. It was bad.
I didn't do that. That was
Yeah. No, it was bad. I had originally planned for it to go more in her favor because I had, she's a badass assassin and it's going to be like, kind of movie stuff. No, I rolled horribly. When I was rolling for the attack, I was rolling fantastically. I rolled a 19 for damage, and then I rolled 3 ones in a row. I threw out the last one and rolled again and rolled a 3. So she survived because if I had kept the one, it would have meant I had to kill my character, and I didn't want to do that. So, but she did almost.
You don't tell me what to do, dice.
Huh?
You don't tell me what to do, dice.
So I went and wrote it out then after that.
Unlike reaping what you sow with your bad to the bone tune.
Yeah. I mean, and this is a consequence of someone that she killed for Trathalis without being told to do so. This wasn't a sanctioned hit. This was simply her going, I know what I'm going to do. And she went and she did it. And she really didn't research it very much to find out if she was causing a problem for herself. And I always had in the back of my head that if I ever needed a situation where Cial got in trouble, this would probably be one of them that bit her in the ass. So I rolled and it was. I do everything by dice if you haven't figured that out yet.
We've heard that rumor.
Yeah.
I feel like there should be like a comment there.
Let's see. Wednesday was supposed to be my time with my hubby to level, but due to the previous 3 days nightmarish schedule, my husband was really behind in his work, so he had to work instead. So we had to cancel it for the week. And I role played more Cial stuff now that she's in a healer's care and interacting with folks. So that was fun. Thursday was Guild Night RP. It wasn't much, but there was some, and it was fun. Friday was Telvanni RP, which has taken a kick up because there's a lot of new people joining the Telvanni, and there's a lot of conflict, as you can imagine, with Telvanni masters. We have 2 new masters, so I'm sure it's going to be really interesting. We have a trial for Delatorre coming up because he crossed the line tonight and is going to be put on trial for it.
Every time she talks about Telvanni stuff, you should cue the Harry Potter music, bro.
Meow, 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 meow,
Yes.
meow, 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 meow. That's if it was sung by cats. Soak it in. Marinate in it. Marinate. I'm just waiting for Jess to start talking again.
I'm waiting for you to finish. I'm not going to interrupt you.
Marinate. Go ahead.
Dude!
Why? He would interrupt you. He will. He always does. He does everybody. It doesn't matter. If you're talking, he's going to start talking at some point over
I would
you.
never do that.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, so yesterday was Telvanni RP. Today has been touched on Telvanni RP in the Rift. There was a big kind of confrontation, and it actually, again, considering that there was a crowd of people, it didn't go terribly. Delatorre had trouble keeping up with all of the people attacking him, but that was really the only downside.
Yeah. Especially out in a public place like that.
Yeah, so that went really well, and now he's in custody and will be put on trial. So that's the long and the short of my RP this week.
Neat. Strafe.
Well, after a week of burnout, haha, the irony.
Uh-huh.
Because I was burnt out, and I should have gotten the show, but I don't know what I was doing, but it was bad. Either way, Monday night, I made it for ordinator training, which was the riding formation, jousting, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's really funny on Nick Socks, I'm just going to say.
Yeah. But, you know,
Everybody's rocking Guar.
I've only got 2 Guar, and I'm not willing to spend $13 on the regular Guar. It's too much for me, because I mean, they're just realistic Yoshis, you know? So I've gotten 2.
I got mine for like $700. It was on sale.
Yeah.
But
see?
yeah,
And
I
even
mean, when they're...
Even that, I was like, I don't really like them.
I needed one for Sia because she wouldn't have a horse because horses and wolves don't get along. So I couldn't have a horse, and I didn't see her with a lion or anything. So I went with the Guar because it made more sense.
Yeah. So RP this week.
But I've
Go ahead.
got a fire Guar and the ice Guar, so I'm... But that bug is really cool, though. It actually is kind of neat, and it fits the lore, so you're perfectly good with it.
So, the funny part was that Zasher didn't show up, which made Kisney a little nervous because he was surrounded by gold hats, and he was the only red shirt, literally the only red shirt in his recruit uniform there.
Mm-hmm.
And Kisney was thinking, yeah, I know how this is going. I'll be the first one thrown to the maw.
Hey, what's that dark, deep cave over there with something growling at it? Recruit, go check it out. Dun dun dun.
Oh man, yeah, pretty much. Tuesday, I try to get the poetry hour going, and just I tell these people, hey, it's starting at 8 Central. Next thing I know, how long is that from now? Literally in guild chat, and I was like, really? But yeah, they showed up late, and we had already bugged out to go to your event, which was super cool. We did a adventure down into the depths of the Ordinator dungeons where some slime had infected some prisoners, and they were attacking us, so we had to fend them off and rescue our wounded, and that was a really fun event.
I had fun
What is
doing
Oh
it.
yeah, I did that too. I forgot. Yep.
Yes, you did.
Wow,
You
it
were
was
present.
so memorable. She's like,
I have a terrible memory. Leave me be.
I knocked an infected orc off the back of Lady Saren, which made Kissing kind of smirk because, hey, he's still a bandit at heart. And we walked one of our wounded recruits back to the clinic. Apparently, Roger. Kishmas alert. Is he around?
no, hold on. Let me see. Is it? No. Still nothing.
Okay. Kishmas was wounded as well. I'm not sure how bad Roger was, but he was in the clinic when I left.
Yeah,
Guildhall Knight.
He took a pretty big beating. He rolled some really bad rolls.
Yeah, he
No
looked pretty
zeros this
stoved up
time.
in there. The Guildhall Knight, I showed up too late. I don't remember what I was into. I think I was playing I know I was playing Star Wars Battlefront. That's what was going on there. Stomping rebels, crushing them,
Rebel
get the spice of
scum.
life. And we watched a performance by the lovable Yunfei. She did a cute little ditty. We enjoyed it. Trath was too busy to notice, though, he was plotting his next adventure, Indiana Jones style, slip out of his office window to another ruin on the border of Bruma and Skyrim. That turned into CRP, where Trath was informed by his niece, hey, C's been hurt, this and that. Brought everybody up to speed. So that was fun. Friday night, I got on Trajan after hours, and we did pushed Sia's RP forward by meeting at Kia's house, where Joris was taking care of her with a healer, and it was good RP for the week, I should say.
Quite so.
Quite so, good man. Quite so.
So, what about you, Sibsies?
Me. It's all about me.
Oh, here we go.
Let's see. Winning game, and I RP'd. Let's see. Sunday night, I went to the tea house. I went on my little clergy person, Kilvin, and of course she doesn't know anybody really, so she kind of watched the group from the Abbey in the corner, and she didn't really interact with anybody. And then she went and sat down, and she kind of watched everybody at the tea house. And finally, towards the end, she stood up, and I was walking her out, and I attempted, like, saying that it was really crowded, and she attempted not to bump into somebody. Well, they, of course, took, and they said she bumped into them and turned around and was like, hey, watch where you're going. Well, once they saw her, they were very polite to her because she's just this little bitty waif of a thing. And I started talking to him, and I actually met a new person, and it was really cool, a lot of fun. It actually led to more RP throughout the week, which I will get to. But let's see, Monday night I went to ordinator training, and we did have a blast on the Guar.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of fun. It was neat, even though I hate the dice. I'm with Jazz. The dice are just, they're horrible.
It went on about a whole round or two longer than I meant it to, just because you guys were out of 9
Well,
people.
no, I'm talking about even the ordinator training.
Oh, that was, yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, it just seemed like the whole week, the dice, if you had to roll the dice, you may have got one good roll. That's it. The rest were just crap. And then, let's see. Then I went to the event on Tuesday. And yes, I had one good roll. I think me and Zasher, Jazz's character, had one good roll at that turn. And we managed to, I think he took out 2 people and I took out 1. I can't remember, but we ended up getting several. And then
Dice was rigged because I only got one roll as well as good.
Well, it was
Yeah.
like 2 turns. So we had 9 people. One turn, 2 out of 9 actually made a hit above 10. And the next one, 3 out of 9 made a hit above 10. It's like,
Yeah.
God.
that 2 was me and Jazz.
God.
And
Yep.
we were like, hell yeah. We looked at each other and did like the power nod, and then we went on back into battle. And
And
that was
quickly
a lot
got
of fun.
stomped. Yeah.
Yeah, quickly got stomped right around. But I will say it was a lot of fun too, because they split into groups
Mm-hmm.
when they got down into the cell in the research area. And we went to the research area. My group did. There was 4 of us. And our high ordinator, when we got in there, we got ambushed. And she was like instantly started yelling out orders like shield wall, and she instantly put up a ward, which
Rolled a 20. Only one of the night.
She rolled a 20, and she pretty much just saved all 4 of us that were up there in that room. And then the others came along, and they managed to get up there in time to, once the ward came down, or they busted through everything, they were there to have our backs, which was awesome. But that was a lot of fun. And let's see. After that, I actually went and got on my little clergy, and I went down to the infirmary, and she actually got to heal Roger, Kishmas's character, and he was being very irritating.
Grumpy.
He was so irritating.
Snarly. It was so funny.
He actually looked at my character and was like, "Who are you?" And she said, "I'm novice, Kilvin." And he's like, "How do I know?" And she goes, "Oh, I'm an imposter. I put on this robe and I come down here just to harm you." And he goes, it could happen. And I was like, no, it's not going to happen. I'm here to heal you if you need healing. And he kind of was grumpy, and she finally was like, "Do you want me to help you or no?" And he finally was like, "Yes." And then, of course, Tarvala was like, "Yes, he needs healing." So Kilvin healed him, which I hadn't got to heal anybody. He was my first heal.
Oh.
So.
Oh. You never forget your first.
No.
Oh,
He'll hold that in my heart, my
Yeah.
first heal.
I
Aw.
remember my first too. I can even still remember the song playing. Sorry, old joke.
So anyway, Wednesday night I went to Moths and Scarabs, which is like a card game, and Jazz was there too. My character actually.
I did go to that too. See,
Yeah.
you keep reminding me of stuff I did.
I know you guys do that to me too, because as you go on, it's good that I get to be like later.
I'm
down
always
in the
first,
lineup.
and I never get
Yeah.
any reminders. So
Yeah, I get the reminders. But we did the
That's
Moths
why
and
you will
Scarabs.
always go first.
And I actually bumped into the player that I ran into at the tea house that night, and we had made plans to actually get together in RP later, like Friday this week. And I got to RP with him or them on Wednesday, which was a lot of fun. They were really interesting, and we just got to know each other, sat and chatted, and it was interesting. I love to meet new people. Then Thursday, I was not in game. I had baseball games, and then Friday I wasn't feeling good. We've had a lot of storms roll through, so my allergies have been crazy yesterday and today. So, but that was my week. At least
Indeed.
I'm just happy to have something to talk about this week.
I'm just glad to be a part of the conversation.
I'm actually a part of the role play.
So yeah, a lot of the stuff they did, they were talking about, I was there for much of it. The event I ran was a lot of fun. It was still a continuation. They had captured the ooze in the previous event that covers the gargoyle menaces and things like that, and put it in a secure vault down below the abbey where they also keep prisoners and things like that. But it was also their research area. They brought in 2 little mages, the one that's been helping them, and an assistant to try to figure out what it was, and they were making some headway. And as the Tarvala was up there, she was getting ready to give them a breakdown of things that had what they've learned and what they know so far. And the researcher was supposed to come up there, but of course she was late. And then after we had started, a assistant researcher came up there shouting for help and saying that the black ooze had broken containment, and of course right then and there, some of it that had gotten onto her had managed to coat her whole body and basically take over her, and she just started attacking them, and they actually managed to save her and knock her out. The others were not so lucky.
Kind of feels like we're ripping off Prometheus just a little bit.
Oh yeah. That actually wasn't the intent. It's the same thing with the Venom stuff. It's very Venom-esque. I picked
same
black
stuff.
because it's, black is creepy. It's it's
Yep.
menacing. But, I'm like, you know what? Screw it. Just going to go with it. Because there's more to it than that, and it's also not
Yeah.
from outer space. And it won't be in a movie with Tom Hardy. That's probably going to be terrible. I love Tom Hardy. I'm just not looking forward to that Venom movie. I don't have a lot of hope for it, given the other stuff that Fox has done. But that's neither here nor there. So, of course, they knock her out. They rush down there. They go to the vaults. They kind of lock up the doors and keep anything from getting out. Unfortunately, there was time between when they were informed and when they got there, but that'll come later. So they detected life, and it was muddled. Usually it pings kind of like a sonar or a radar, and they can kind of get a general sense of it. But it was just kind of like a hazy fog. Like they knew there was life in there, they just couldn't pinpoint it. It was like an androgynous blob, a lot like Rosie O'Donnell. See, got you, Rosie. Rosie and Barr.
I thought it was funny,
they're
bro.
interchangeable. But so as they were going through the cavern, because it's a house zone that's like deep underground, so it's one of the big housing zones. I don't remember what it was called, but it's deep underground, lots of caves, and it's a really cool place to do like that kind of role play and dungeon crawl kind of role play. Without having to put up with other people ruining it and like jumping up and down and like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, neat! You guys are stupid. So one of them, as they were traveling through, they slowly got attacked. First one jumped down from above, clobbered Ivul, the High Ordinator, a couple times. Took care of him. The stuff when the individual dies, it seemed like instead of usually before the ooze would like coalesce and then scamper off. This time it just basically died and turned to a black powdery dust. So then they fought another two of them that jumped out of the water. Same thing. And that's when they got to the split. And I gave them this choice to go either to check on the prisoners or check on the prison, which they could see from where they were at the entrance. The bars had been like pulled apart as if by inhuman strength, which was the prisoners infected being doubled their strength and multiples of them all pulling at once. They were able to break their cages. Or they can go to the research lab. So they chose to do both. They split up, which, as we all know from the movie tropes, you never split up in a deep, dark cave when there's black, like, gangly creatures running around. It's never a good idea. So it was their choice. They could have all, if they had all gone to the research center together, they'd have all been there for the attack, and it wouldn't have been much of an ambush. It'd actually been 1-on-1 odds. But they didn't do that. They split up into, I think, 4s and 5s, and of course, the small group is the one that happened to be in the place where they were all going to get ambushed. And like Sib said, as soon as they came out from the water that was there, they came out from behind pillars. 2 of them crawled out from like the ceiling, like crab walking, like
yeah, that's scary shit.
Yeah, like what's her face from was it not Poltergeist? The Exorcist, crab walking upside down the stairs and like. Bleh.
That was The
Terrifying
Grudge.
scene. No, there was an extended scene in The Exorcist where she's upside down, like she's crab walking with her back bent in the middle and her tummy pointing up, and she crab walks down the stairs. Oh, it's terrifying. It was actually reintroduced. It wasn't in the original cut. It was reintroduced in the DVDs and Blu-rays years and years later. But for its time that's just a terrifying scene.
What a great movie, man.
Oh, so good.
For its time, it was way ahead.
Oh yeah, I love completely offside. I love seeing the videos of that era of people fainting, throwing up in the movie theater aisles. I mean, it was just such. People are always like, "Yo, you'll never get that." It was such an age of innocence compared to today, where it's like, some asshole I don't know could jump in our Discord chat and put up horrible shit, and it's awful, but we're not nearly as fazed by it as, people that watch somebody spit up pea soup back in 1970 something and pass out in the middle of it from terror. I can't imagine that today. Could you imagine somebody throwing like passing out in a movie because just because of what's on the screen. I can't even imagine something like that.
No.
How dark and how horrible you would have to go to get a reaction like that visceral.
Well,
I
no,
don't
what
know.
was the name of that movie? Saw. I think Saw had some of those reactions
it
in
was
the audience.
Yeah,
This
see,
is
and
gore. It was a gore trope.
yeah, and it wasn't
was.
even compared to other things. It wasn't really even all that gory. It was just watching somebody cut their own leg off. You know.
I just remember reading about people getting like physically ill.
Yeah,
and leaving.
I remember that during the Blair Witch Project, but that was because the camera shaking was getting to people.
Well, yeah, and that was a terrifying
Mhm.
movie.
That was a really.
It was a psychological thriller, though. It wasn't like.
I saw that one too before people knew it was fake because that was at the beginning of the internet, and they had faked the internet site and faked the police reports and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Was so good.
Speaking of 70s horror, we have a direct sequel to the first Halloween coming out this October.
Yep.
That actually looks pretty good.
Executive producer.
Of course it does. It's got Jamie Lee Curtis in it.
It's got Jamie Lee
Oh,
Curtis.
yes.
It's got John Carpenter and the executive producer. I'm stoked. His comments
Yeah.
to the director were "Make him relentless," and I was like, "Oh my goodness!"
It looked good. He's actually, of the original three, he's my least favorite, I will say. I always liked Jason and Freddy more than I liked Michael Myers.
Started with Michael Myers.
But I don't know. I'm kind of digging on it. It looks good. It looked like a good horror movie.
Yeah, he's still my favorite. It should be good. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
It just was at the time. The other two were just scarier to me. I think the dreams on the one and the water with the other was always scarier to me as a kid in the 80s, than Michael Myers and his mask.
Well, yeah, in
Now
the
I
80s they
appreciate
took
him.
it and ran with it, right?
Yeah.
And it's more flamboyant.
That's a very good way to put it. It's very flamboyant.
Because Halloween's always been kind of suspenseful until the sequels turned complete mush. But
Yeah, they got a little.
like the
little-
first Alien, it's like super suspenseful. You never saw the critter.
And then the second one, they went balls to the wall, like
Oh yeah,
action movie. And then there were those other movies.
and there's never been a
You
good
know-
one since.
They just need to stop sometimes. They make a good movie and they just need to stop.
It's
Like,
what we said last
Pair-
episode. Sometimes you run out of things to tell.
well,
It's
like
the search for more money, civvies.
Paranormal Activity, the first one, it scared the crap out of me. I couldn't sleep.
That was a
And
good
then they made 2. And then I was like, oh, well, crap. Okay, this is not scary anymore. 3, okay, I'm done.
one. Paranormal
And-
into the shadow world. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
And
you
what
know
was the name of that one in the hotel? Psycho?
Psycho, yeah.
Yeah.
That
That
was-
was a very disturbing movie. It wasn't like
That's classic
scary.
Hitchcock, though.
Yeah, but it was disturbing. And
Yeah.
I think that a lot of times, and I'm starting to see some more Hitchcockian type movies coming back up. There's one called Inherited or something like that.
Hereditary.
Yeah,
Hereditary. I've seen some clips that look really disturbing. I think they're going back towards away from like
Psychological
blatantly scary
thriller.
and going for psychological terrifying
Yeah.
because
and
they're not showing everything.
And I've
They're
heard on
playing on
Heredity
people.
that it's slow, but it can be good. It just depends if you're into that kind of, but it's
Yeah.
slow. Like, I know. Okay, we're gonna just talk about horror movies for a second here because it goes into absolutely nothing, but I love them. Like The Witch. Like Sib didn't like that they spoke Old English. That didn't bother me. I understood the Old English. The part I didn't like about that witch, they ruined it in the first 5 fucking minutes. The entire movie. Okay, I don't know if any of you saw this. The entire movie,
Nope.
you're supposed to be deciding if the girl is possessed by the devil or if she's just fucking crazy. Now, that by itself would have been an excellent movie. What I
Yes.
would have done differently directorially was maybe not in the first 5 minutes, show the witch. So it takes away all that is she possessed by the devil or crazy stuff because
Yeah.
you saw her.
If you're gonna show the villain, the monster, whatever,
right?
like do it like you could see him at a distance. He's got his back to you, like they did in the first Halloween or the first Alien. You barely catch a glimpse of it. And you're like, oh my lord, what is that?
Yeah, and they did that, but like the whole thing is supposed to be like, is she crazy? Is she possessed by the devil? Well, she's possessed by the devil. I already saw the witch. I'm pretty sure it's the devil. Yeah. Oh, look. Oh, she's. Oh, yep. It's the devil. What? Why? It's It's just like with roleplay. Don't give away your entire story before you've even begun it. See? Let's see how I brought that around.
Yeah.
You brought it full circle. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, it really is. It's like we said last episode, and Hollywood's just as bad as it is as any role player, which is why we have to give role players who aren't professional writers a little leeway when they kind of grind their character into the ground. It's just like, okay, like TK Dean was saying last time in his D&D match, and it happens a lot in roleplay. It's just sometimes you just need to move on, or you really need to change things up. Don't just keep getting kidnapped, as an example. But so anyway, back to RP. They made the choice. Volleen really did save that group's ass because she was quick on the orders to form a shield wall. She rolled a 20 when she had done a ward instead of an attack. And, that was basically it. Everybody else rolled low, so they were going to get 2 out of 4 of them rolled low. So 2 out of 4 were going to get their butt whooped. But that thing, a 20 with a shield, with a giant warded shield in front of them, it kept Sib from, she still got bowled over, but she didn't get bowled over early on and then pummeled while the others came up. She got bowled over, and that's right when the second group came. So, it worked out very well for them on that case. And then it went 4, almost 5 rounds just because they rolled like garbage. It was just so bad. But it was a lot of fun. I had fun doing it. I like doing multi NPC combat and trying to make it. I try to make it as enjoyable to read as possible, which is why we have today's episode, because much of what we're going to be reading off of Expectations and Allowances is something I wrote up for our guild and for just roleplay in general. And then also knowing that we could do it as a show. So the other thing I did, and don't judge me too harshly, Strafe.
Judge.
I've
been playing Star Trek Online.
Bro, I can't judge you because every once in a while I want to go back. But it's just not. Once you get into it, you're like, oh yeah, this.
Yeah, and it's been fun. What's funny is, I think I have. I've tried to see if there's roleplay stuff in it, and it's amazing for it's Star Trek. I honestly thought it'd be like, oh, because I'm curious now to see what kind of, I'm trying to reach out to different roleplay communities from different games other than the ones that we're familiar with. Like I'm reaching out to Secret World people. I think I'm just gonna have to sign up for their forums because I don't think their email goes anywhere. But I put in Star Trek Online thing, and there's only one there's only one RP Hub forum that comes up, and it hasn't been posted on since May.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Right? And I was like, this is like, it's Star Trek. You would think there'd be at least a decent cluster of roleplay community. I did find one guild that seems to be very active. They had a lot of posts, so I might have to hit them up and see what they're about, and see if we can't get some of them on the show to talk about.
That would be cool.
Whatever roleplay there is in Star Trek Online is like I want to do for WoW, a Secret World, and all the other games as well. Because I want to bring as many communities in as we can, because it's all.
I can never find him when I was playing it, and it's like that whole game is great. There's so much stuff in it, but it feels like you're playing a giant single player game. And it's just,
in which I
don't know what it is.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it. Like ship combat reminded me of there's an old Star Trek game, and it literally plays exactly like that. And I loved that game back in, I want to say it was around 2005 or 6. I can't remember what it was, but it was some Star Trek space sim game. The shield, you had 4 quadrants for the shields and phasers and photon torpedoes and little missions, and it's basically that with as well as a ground combat thing.
Yeah, oh yeah. The space combat's great.
Yeah.
It's just, you can't have your friends on your bridge while you're in combat.
Which
solo in it.
Right. But but for roleplay wise, if you can still do that stuff, that you can manage. But
and I think a lot of the RPers there, they kind of hide out in their guilds, kind of like.
I wondered that if they
other games.
Yeah.
There's some SWG forums I've looked at that haven't been updated forever on EMU I play.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're hit out in little pockets. That's what the deal is. And I think it's the same thing for Star Trek Online.
That's why I wanted. I like I said, I found one guild that they had their forum had at least been posted on a couple times that same day. So obviously they're still active. I just have to see if I can't join them and reach out and talk to them about stuff like that. And see if maybe if you can find one, they could do. It's like the door to Narnia or the back alley in Diagon Alley.
Get your foot in the door, right?
Yeah,
An old episode. Go watch it, y'all.
yeah. It's just like, see if I can't make first contact with them from outside the sphere, the Dyson sphere. For those that remember that episode.
Scotty.
But yeah, it's been fun. It's been enjoyable. I've just been bouncing around. I'm still playing ESO and doing that stuff too. But I really do want to try to bounce around and reach out to some more RP communities, both for the show and to help as many people as we can, or entertain at the very least. So, but yeah, so that was kind of what I did this week. I think that's about it. We don't have any news stories, so I think with that, if everyone's good, just reach for something down here completely out of screen. That's not suspect at all. I think we have a word from our sponsor.
Miss Philippe's Fellows School of Etiquette. Here at our prestigious school, you will learn how to be polite, how to engage those around you into conversation, how to entertain those you wish to woo and wow, plus much, much more, with instructors like Miss Jessica, our teacher of communication. Hello there. I will teach you how to make those around you stand at attention and hang on your every word. Yes, Miss Jessica, you have such a way with words. We have also Miss Alice, who teaches proper dining etiquette.
One must know when to pull the chair out and place her napkin if one plans to impress. One must know where the spoon and forks are supposed to be placed. One does not simply put utensils on the table. They have to be placed correctly. Knowing which fork you eat with first is important. That is, unless you are a Neanderthal.
Miss Alice, Neanderthals, how funny. We also have the lovely Miss Bianca, who teaches our event planning class. Hello, Miss Bianca.
Hello. How are you? I have asked you a question. You've answered me.
Don't you look at me like that. Get on your knees. Yes, just like that.
My, well, you should be fine with her. Just don't talk back. Ooh, anyway, please feel free to contact us or check us out. We are at Miss Fellowby Bellows School of Etiquette.
Now I need to find my dogs and apologize for scaring the shit out of them.
Hot Jessica's really getting that career going, doesn't she?
Oh, that was priceless.
I heard she got hired over there at the etiquette school. Yeah.
Like
She's,
Gormal's going to be in that school when he shows up.
What's that?
Teach people how to talk, communicate.
Who's that? Yeah, he was hiding under Sib's chair after the ruler slaps.
Oh, poor Pooch.
Oh, poor baby.
Say hi to everybody, Spanky. He is known as Fatness Everdeen. Because he's so fat. Oh, it's okay, fat guy. Go on, you're good. Feel better? All right, he's good. Yeah, I slapped that first rule and I saw whoo.
Everybody just parted.
Pop the fuck up. And I'm sure I don't even know where the other one's at. She's probably long gone. She doesn't like loud noises.
She probably went upstairs.
Yeah. So, sorry about that, guys. You live. Kind of an ironic name with you using the ruler. You're an ironic name. So, expectations and allowances. Like I said, this was something I actually had. It was a full-on thing I had wrote up for the guild, just to help people who were just DMing events, participating in them, or in just kind of in general. And I know we've kind of hit on stuff like this before, but this one goes into a little more detail. And Strafei actually added a few things on here too that are actually good points. So we'll hit those up first, because it's good. Good job, Strafei. I don't care what Sib says about you. You're all right in my book.
I know. Except you fired me down to the basement desk, so it is what it is.
Well, I mean, that coke addict you have, addiction.
Pushes me away. He brings me back. I'm so confused.
Yeah, well, I'm trying. I play a woman. What do you expect?
Oh my gosh.
For our female listeners, I meant every word.
I'm throwing something at him right now.
And she just turned the show off.
Did you?
Nope, but it made her feel bad.
Oh, jeez.
I didn't. I'd be like, you can turn it back on.
All right, so what we have here is one of the first things you should do of be careful having expectations for beginning or end, as that those can trigger disappointment and annoyance even if you don't realize it, and you put stress on you and the event itself in the process. So, Strafei,
Yes.
you expound?
On your topic?
No, on what you had said there. Like, so you mean like expectations of like when how long it will take to begin and end, right?
See, I didn't write that one. I wrote
Oh,
everything.
who wrote that one? Was it Jazz?
Was
What?
it you?
It wasn't me.
Which one?
Yeah.
Oh, the first one?
Yeah.
Or second one, rather? Yeah, those two and three are mine.
Oh, okay. So what'd you mean by that, Jazz?
Okay, for 2, be careful having expectations from beginning to end, as those can trigger disappointment and annoyance even if you don't realize it, and put stress on you and the event itself in the process.
Yes.
One of the things that I've noticed when making events is that you have in your head what you want to happen, even if you don't believe in forming it. In your head, you want it to happen a certain way or go a certain way. Everyone does it.
Oh, okay.
And it's important to remember, especially when you're doing open RP with a group, it's not going to go the way you want. 99.9% of the time, something's going to go awry, and either people are going to be asshats, or it really is the storyline's going to shift and you're going to have to deal with it. So if you keep in mind that this is open and you don't hinge your character's development on what happens in these events, then you're going to be less likely to put stress on you and thus stress on everybody else.
Yeah, it's kind of like what they say in the military planning. You know, no plan survives the first 5 minutes of contact. You know, really, it's just a general outline after that. So yeah, that is keeping your expectations and keeping your ability to go with the flow is definitely something you have to do.
Did you post this outline in Discord, by the way? Or not that? Did you post what you wrote up in Discord?
In Discord? No, I don't ever post anything in Discord.
Put a link to his stuff on there.
The link.
Oh, the link to the thing is
That was posted in
Yeah.
Servants, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I was just curious if he posted it. The link to what he actually wrote for this.
Oh no, not yet. I didn't.
Oh,
Even
I was
going to
see. Are you going to so
You
people will
can,
be able
yeah.
to look at it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
on
not the
Reddit.
one from Google Docs because they can edit that and no.
Smiley said it was on Reddit, so
It is actually at the MMORPG roleplay Reddit subreddit as well. I did
I
post
just
it
wanted
there.
to make sure people could actually see what
Yeah, I get
you
what
wrote
you're
up
saying.
for this topic.
Yeah, I get you. The other part you want to do is take your time, have patience when dealing with large groups. Jazz, I should have known you did this. Take a drink or two to chill you out. If you're a normally tense person, maybe a good idea. See, I could see that being Jazz now and not Strafei that put
Yes.
that in there.
Yeah, I am a very anxious person, and I get very, very tense. So when I'm doing even though I don't drink when I role play, so I was more or less tongue in cheek for that. But
Right.
I don't
get
drink
you.
when I role play, but I will have like, a thing of ice cream or, what chills me out or music in the background, something that keeps my stress levels down when I'm doing these things. Because if I don't, I can feel my blood pressure getting higher.
I'm just thinking. I wish I had like a bong sound effect right now because that would probably be what another thing.
And I'm allergic to.
Of course you
so
are.
I know,
of
right?
Of course you
Shocking. So I can't. At least I was when I was a teenager. I may not still be
because it was grown in a place that once can also grow gluten.
No, that's not why. It has.
It's my head canon. You can't tell me what to do.
I react to anything that is very similar to green tea, and certain ingredients in pot have that, so they think that's why. But I don't know. It could have been something sprayed on the pot that gave me an allergic reaction when I was a kid. There'd be no
There's
idea.
only one way to
that.
find out, Jazz. Legalize it and try it. Puff, puff, pass.
I'm going to try it eventually just to see. Yes.
The role
I
play.
have eaten it and I didn't get it, but yeah, role play.
The role play. I did 4 through 7.
Go
if you
for
were
it.
curious, Ashton. I'm
Okay,
saying that.
yeah.
Those are the ones I wrote.
So number 4, expect players to let you down. Thus, when they prove you wrong, you can count them in your dependable list. That is a very cynical way to look at it, Straffe. Very cynical.
Wow.
I approve. It is also probably
When
better
you
to
deal
help
with the
keep
general
your
public-
expectations down. Your
Yeah.
disappointment down if things don't go right.
When you deal with the general public, even in games, purple Wookiees are everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
The rare gems like you, Sibs, and Jazz, and a couple of our friends that we know online, are rare. You don't find them until you go through a lot of purple Wookiees.
It is it's sad but true. Yeah. Maybe that they're perfect for somebody else, but they don't match, your puzzle pieces just don't match up. You don't
Case
have
in
enough in
point.
common.
People in Silver Circle wanted to have an evil alt in Nosame, which was Ren's little nasty guild, if you recall.
Right. Yeah, I remember.
So I'd run them to tryouts, and literally they were, I'm this and that, I'm super scary, and they would get to the end of the mission, and they couldn't handle it, and they could not handle it, and the test was designed to weed them out, and I was so disappointed all the time because most of the time I had like 4 people running the whole guild because nobody could get past that entry quest.
Yeah, and I think part of that, which is an episode I really want to hit up. We may do it next time, or we might, because I kind of want Kishmas to be there for that one. But bringing your world-based morality and expectations into a fantasy world in your writing, that I think gets a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people that do that. They can't. Like slavery, we get it. Slavery's really bad. It was a really bad thing, and it's still a really bad thing. Aside the point. But in a fantasy world like ESO or Conan, especially Conan was, shoot, like half the people there were, topless slaves, and they weren't like they weren't the working over a kitchen stove kind of slave. They were the
And that is the kind of slavery that a lot of people role play. They don't role play, go mop the floors.
Right. Yeah.
Which is what most slavery is.
Right. Well,
even today.
Yeah, I don't know about today anymore.
No, it is. It is. There's more slaves out there right now who are
Oh, yeah.
serving as cooks and babysitters, and they have no rights. They live in a basement. They scrub the floors of their masters. They start out as children.
Yeah. Well,
slavery.
the only
takes
problem
that form.
is now that there's more slaves today than the entire 400 years of the slave trade.
Yes.
Like as of this moment. So.
Yes.
Proportionally, probably a little bit more of both at this point, which is
Or Libya,
awful.
open air slave markets after they deposed Gaddafi. Way to go, Department of Defense. Just saying.
Yep. Thanks for that power vacuum. Good job.
Yeah. Yeah, good old Gaddafi.
We'll leave that one alone because I could expand. But yes, and there's
Yes.
financial slaves. Suffice to say, when you got people that want to join your deal and they don't live up to what the guild is supposed to be, you are kind of let down. But then again, I kind of expected it.
But then again, you also don't want them there if they can't
exactly
handle it either.
So when I first meet these people, their tunes, I'm like, okay, you're not going to hack it. I start out with that mentality, or I did back in EverQuest 2. And if they passed it, I would be surprised.
Awesome.
Like, oh, I can work with you.
Right.
And it was kind of a surprise.
Yeah, I could get that. I get that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and this one I've had to do recently. Be open for people canceling on you the day of your event, and give players a break for showing up late within reason. Nothing says hard ass like not letting players join 5 minutes after an event starts. And yeah, I agree. Like,
I think we've all seen that.
yeah, and like this, like yesterday, like I wanted somebody, Lil L was doing an event in Servants of the Temple, and I wanted to go to it. It was 8:00. So when I woke up from my nap at 8:20, I was like, well, shit, you know. I mean, could I have, you know, probably gone to it and been allowed to? Probably, but I was like, you know, I don't have the expectation that they're gonna have to stop what they're doing to invite me. I'm gonna have to run out there. Someone's gonna have to fill me in. What's going? You know, it's a big headache for somebody that, you know, oh, it's my fault, you know, so I just don't get to do this thing I was kind of looking forward to now because I didn't set an alarm and I thought I would wake up, but I did not because heat sleep is a thing. But, you know, but at the same time, like you said here, Streffe, somebody like 5, maybe 10 minutes late, I personally just roll with it. You know, I'll tell somebody to send them a tell and update them if it doesn't, you know, if it's not something that can really be said in like a single sentence, if there actually is anything to update.
A recent example, I was like 2 to 3 to 5 minutes late to your event when we went to the ooze and the prisoners deal, right?
Yeah, because you guys
and you
had
found
your
me and you're
thing.
like, oh, come this way, Kizdian, it's down this way. Meet
Yeah.
up with them there.
Well, and
it was cool. You totally role played it in, and I even put it in my report.
Yeah, well, and it made sense because like it happened in the Abbey. So even if you were, like, if you quote unquote were you weren't going to be part of the briefing for whatever military reason, you know, make up one, whatever. You had another patrol and you were just coming off, but you know, we're all rushing down the stairs and on our way to the vault, and we're like, we need you to come with us right now. You know, boom, instantly invited. And you don't need to know the context other than we're going to go fuck some shit up. You know? And people need to roll with the punches like that, you know? It's
and
not,
that's how I rolled with it.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be hard. And, you know, and after the fact, you can catch up on like, oh, okay, so this is why we're killing black people with gooey ooze stuff all over them that are like doubly strong and super powerful. Probably shouldn't use the term black people.
It was totally an orc. I fought an orc. I don't know about you, bro.
Well, they had different prisoners. Some of them were elves, some of them were orcs. I think one of them might have been an Argonian, but yeah, I don't know. I just made this shit up on the spot. To be honest with you, I just needed warm bodies.
Point being, don't run a dude out of town if he's 5
Right.
minutes late,
Well,
within reason, right?
and
if
Jazz,
he's 30 minutes late, then yeah, it's kind of hard.
Right. You know, yeah, because and at that point in that RP, it would have been impossible because the vault was in character locked down. You know,
Yes.
so yeah, you wouldn't have been able to. So that made sense. But like I know you, Jazz, you're trying to do the tea house, not tea house, sorry, the poetry night, and it just, you know, it really has been. It's definitely the beginning of summer because I noticed.
It's been a slow week.
True.
I know one of the officers in Servants was like, he just deleted the old stuff that had already come. He's like, we've only got one event scheduled for like the entire week right now. Can people? You know, he's like, I was like, dude, I'm sure you've probably noticed it, but December and this time of year, it's a month-long period of the fuck is everybody?
That's when we looked at each other and we said, Sibbies, what's going on over there? It's like, oh, it's Ashen's deal. It's like, well, let's abandon ship and go mess some stuff up, man.
That's right. And I'm glad to have you. But
No. The game is dying. I'm just gonna let you guys know.
No.
The game is
Smell of
dying.
shame for that kind
The
of
guilds are dying.
The game is gonna quit. Everybody's
maybe
gonna leave.
if that game is run by Daybreak Games, that's true.
Oh, okay.
That one is probably dying.
Yeah, seriously, they're pretty bad right now. Unless somebody buys them and
Still no
You
update
know.
on the Russian stuff. I've been looking, still kind of keeping an eye out to see where that
I
situation
have a feeling
goes.
we're not going to see anything about that.
No, not unless one of those oligarchs, which, by the way,
Yeah.
come up with real words, Russia,
That is a
goes
real
to
word.
jail. No, it's not. It's a made-up word.
No,
It's a
not.
made-up word like platypus or Eskimo.
Okay.
Prove me wrong. Don't.
Don't.
So allow for changes to the plan. Often this will add to the event rather than take away. Make sure they run it by you first, which is always true. Nothing says the what the fuck like a purple Wookiee idea that sparkles.
That's right.
Shiny. And Chupacabra is actually real. I saw a documentary on the X-Files, Rahanar. It's actually two Hispanic guys that were infected by something and they turned into chupacabras. So that was a documentary, proven fact. Come at me, bro.
Oh, the Chupacabra.
I remember a lot of really stupid television.
Nothing says I can save the day by I'll take their wounds onto me and then you can save me and drag me out of this dungeon because I sparkle. No. No, you don't.
Oh.
Something sparkles.
But yeah, sometimes somebody comes up with a creative idea to solve a problem that's in the dungeon with the group. It's like, hey, if this collapse, why don't we just keep collapsing that tunnel so they can't get to us and we'll dig our way out the other way? Or something, who knows what it is.
Right. And at the same time, also, like that's actually kind of, that's a cool idea, And you still run it by the guy, or you emote that's what you want to do, or you plan it out. And,
yeah.
If the DM doesn't want that, they tunnel doesn't collapse. It's just that easy, But at the same time, something Jazz has said, if you're in the middle of something like that, don't use your OOC knowledge to try to in-characterly instantly solve the entire thing before it's even begun.
Yeah, that.
Like a mystery, especially if it's a mystery. Obviously, with combat, you can't be like, I'm going to think my way out of this while they try to claw my eyes out.
Or the ever popular vampire that goes Super Saiyan and then pulls his lightsaber out and saves the day in a D&D campaign. You're like, really, dude? Where did that come from? No, you can't do that.
Butters,
Rocks on your head,
you?
you're dead.
Sorry, it's a Dresden Files reference. There's a guy named Waldo Butters came in as a little guy, and he ended up being a Knight of the Holy Cross, but he is such a little geek. The sword took on the Holy Sword, which is made from the nail of one of the three nails that held Christ on the cross, and it glows. Its holy light glows, and it's a very thin blade, so it looks like a silver lightsaber. And
That's
it shifted
pretty cool.
because you would love the Dresden Files, dude. I'm telling you, it's
I need
a
to
great
watch it at some
series of
point.
books. Yeah. Oh no, not watch. Don't for the love of
Oh,
God.
the
Don't
books.
Watch, yeah, the books.
my
Don't watch
bad.
the TV show. The TV show was terrible.
Yeah, I
There's
thought
a
you were talking
reason
about
it got
the show.
10 episodes. It was awful.
Okay. Fair enough.
The books, however, are a fantastic read, or the audiobooks are even better because they're read by James Marsters, who Buffy the Vampire Slayer people know as Spike from Buffy, and he does fantastic. Beside the point, it's still a really great series. Expect excellence from your officers. Very true. Always expect the most from your officers, more than anybody else. A vote of confidence will keep up your team's morale and your loyalty up. Sorry, I wasn't trying to be quiet. I was trying not to burp into the mic.
No, it's true.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, you can just ask. You know it. I know it. You
Mhm.
just ask Jazz if she would be having a crap day. She's like, "Hey, I'll leave this in your hands," and that was cool. It's like, "Oh, she's throwing the mantle on us. Let's run it." Or me and Tilder, we ran a tight ship. Or in Nase, I'd had like my two commanding. I'd always have three officers. One that was like my second, which is more like the whole master and apprentice, and then the other one was like the guy hungry enough to kill the apprentice to join his spot. But if I could trust them to do their jobs, they would actually work harder in whatever we were doing, and that's kind of a good thing. Pick your folks wisely and expect them to do well. And
Right.
You will get goodness.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you have officers, is to, to rely on them. Because as Jazz learned, you can't do it all yourself. Even when you're playing for 18 hours a day because you pass out when you have seizures, as she has said before, you still can't. You're still only one person.
You can't do it yourself, and that's and I know. The idea is, especially when you're surrounded by a lot of people who are very busy with their lives, you think you're helping.
Ashton,
you're
we both got that badge. Has served
Yeah.
in seizure years.
Yeah.
Yep.
High five.
Sorry, mouth got dry. But yeah, it just takes. That's one of those things that new guild leaders they have to learn, and I get it. I'm a do it like with the show. I keep saying like everybody needs to do other stuff, and I still end up like well, I got this idea over here, and it's an easy thing. Although I like tonight, Sib wrote the thing, and it was cute. And by the way, good job with the accents there, Sib. I was actually proud of you. You did pretty good.
She did good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not the hot Jessica that one you already know, but the snooty one, which may be showing up a little bit more later with something in a couple episodes.
Gotta love
Might
Hot
be.
Jessica, man. She's
Yeah.
fan favorite.
But
Thank you.
yes, very well. Okay, so this was the those were addendums, and they're actually very good. And I think we might repeat at least one or two of them here briefly. But I wrote this up for our guild because some people were they were kind of even both the DMs and as participants they were either not doing enough or they were doing overexerting their what should be allowed and what is expected of somebody running an event or doing roleplay, just in kind of like what we did in the last one, in a position of authority as well. Because with that, especially when you DM things, sometimes people were injuring people without their consent, just because they were DMing it like it was a D&D campaign. And a D&D campaign, I mean, you are God, but in RP and an MMO, you don't have that kind of power, frankly. It's a different beast altogether. So you don't get to injure somebody. You can point them into it, or if you have permission, then you can of course do it, but you got to have that permission. Otherwise, you just have to basically make it as an attempt.
Are we going into the list that you made?
Yeah.
I'm gonna read it.
Okay.
We all love events.
I was actually going to skip that part because I was just going to go to the numbers.
Okay.
Number one.
Well, we'll just go to number one. Never mind. Go ahead.
Made her sad, bro. What's up with that?
Go ahead.
We're married. I mean, her happiness is not really a concern of mine. Where's she
Bro.
going?
Bro. Wow.
Where's she going? Can't do better
She
than
going.
this. You can't do better than this. This is it right here. This is it. You can't do better than this.
Anyway,
She can do better.
setup is important.
She can totally do better than
So
this.
you can knock them down.
Should be knocking somebody down later.
Make sure you have a story, a location, and some flexibility. We all know how important flexibility is. You never know where a group of our peers will take the story. Don't be afraid to be descriptive and setup and setting. Sight, smells, weather, feelings, etc. Which the more you make your event, the more you give it, the more life you give it, the more people usually enjoy it. Let them, like the weather, if you want to make it raining, just it gives more immersion. If I said that correctly. Help me out here, guys. Jazz, Straffe. Somebody. Ashton had to jump and run because our husky was having issues, so
Uh-oh.
he
Had to jump out of killing stuff with my Jedi. Sorry. Yeah, totally. You set the weather, it sets the mood, the tone. I mean, you set everything, and it actually puts players into a mind frame that you kind of want them in. Now, where they
Yep.
go from that is up to them, but you already set the stage, which is cool.
Yeah, it's very important because we're human beings. And so we're going to take those sights, smells, weather, the feelings in the air, the color of the clouds, all that stuff is going to affect the way people think and act.
Yes. I'm better behind the scenes.
Oh, you're doing great.
I was typing. Okay. But no, just make sure you give them a lot to feed off of, because the more you give, the more it'll encourage them to give and get involved in the story. Like giving them, you come up with good ideas and they're going to bounce good ideas right back off of you. And some of them might not be so good, but you just
That would be called a purple Wookiee advice. You don't want that advice.
there are a lot of good ideas that come from the more you give, the more you get.
Yes.
I totally failed that one. I'm glad you were away.
Did you? Which one did you do? Number 2.
No, I did number 1.
oh,
We were still in
yeah.
number 1.
Okay, and then
Okay.
you just fumbled the ball. Sorry, my
I
dog
fumbled.
was stuck and she
I
got
know.
hurt. So, all right. So don't bite off more than you can chew. Having a massive story is great. However, if it's more than you can handle, perhaps you should scale it back or have it broken up into parts so that it doesn't run like. What was that like? What was that one you did, Jazz? Where it was like 3 hours before they even got to where they were, and it was another 2.5 hours after that in that
Yeah.
one guild. Yeah, so that's just too damn long.
5 hours is a
Yeah,
long
for almost
time.
for you know that's an expectation. People will end up coming in. They'll come out. Well, they'll come out for sure if you let them in.
I will
It's-
say having a storyline that runs maybe like close to an hour, hour and a half, even if you have to chop it up into parts, is usually a good time.
Mhm.
Because that way, because you get, I mean, I don't have that kind of time to sit in a story. I wish I did.
Yeah, I don't either anymore. No, 2 hours
Yeah.
is about my limit.
Yeah, 2 hours is the max I tend to. Every now
Because
and then
you're
they
gonna
may
start
go
having
over,
people
but
drop off.
yeah.
Yeah.
The
Well,
best
yeah,
part
because
about breaking up a
get
long
hungry.
story like that is you can say next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Right.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. But in it, like this story with the menaces I've been doing, it was never intended to be one thing. It's little side quest chunks that are part of a greater story arc. And that's just the point. It's the people that are there every time or are able to come more often than not. They'll get the whole story, and the ones that aren't, they can read the reports and stuff, so they're still up to date. Or I always do a brief recap at the beginning of each thing. It's just the best way to do it. Now, don't and just don't overburden yourself. Especially if you're new to it. If you're new to just role play in general or doing stories, it doesn't. Not all of this has to be about events, but chill. It's all right. If you're gonna stick with it, there's gonna be time. No reason to rush into it. You don't want to get
Rush through it.
right.
Rush through it.
Don't be it's like the 14 pages of backstory guy. Just it's all right. Just chill out. Deal it out a couple paragraphs at a time. You'll be all right.
It is tempting to kind of rush to your story if players aren't acting right, things are going south. You'd be
Yeah.
really tempted just to cut it off quick. But that's a trap. I would advise not doing that.
It's a trap.
Because you sell your RP short. I know when
Right.
I had an evil Ren from the negative universe come in and actually won, I had to cut it short because things were just not going right. And I always regretted it because the fight should have lasted so much longer. It should have been so much more intrigue. It just didn't get there because people weren't really totally engaged, and I just got fed up with it. And then I sabotaged it myself.
You cut it short yourself instead of maybe having him Skeletor. I'll get you next time, He-Man.
Yeah, none of that. I just got frustrated and I cut it short, and then I regretted it. So don't do that to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and eventually, if you hang in there, I know because there's a lot of things right now I would love to be able to do in game. I don't have time. I work a full-time job. I have 2 kids. I don't have time, but I tried to be in
Her
there when
Latin
I
lover,
can.
Alejandro.
Oh, what? You're so funny. I don't have time.
Yeah, I know,
for
but looks
a
aren't
lover.
It's
everything.
Alejandro, my friend.
I don't have time for Alejandro. Anyway, but no, like I mentioned something to somebody, like getting some part RP started, and it may take me a week or so, but I eventually get to it, and I try not to get discouraged in myself because I'm my own worst enemy. If I don't get things accomplished right away, I get very frustrated. And I've just had to learn with RP, okay, my schedule doesn't always line up with their schedule, so I just kind of have to take it as it comes. And it's been difficult, but it's also been a lot of fun, and I get a lot of reward out of it when we actually do get through with the RP.
Yes. So, the other thing now is make sure the ground rules are known in advance, not as things are going on or after the fact. How the combat will work, whether they are to post in /say in a mode or in a group chat. If everyone's staying in earshot, I'd say emote and say are just fine. If the group's separating, say one's going to a prison and the other one's going there, people need to do it in group so that you can't listen to two places at one time. So obviously that's where you would want to switch to group. How combat works, if it's in alphabetical order or down the line, like sometimes our ordinator trainer, they'll just go from one. Yeah, they're in a straight line. They'll go from beginning to end instead of alphabetical. Where to roll, if you're rolling in Discord, if you need to, because your game is stupid like ESO and doesn't include it on its own, and the apps don't always work. Most people won't have to worry about that because their games are dumb. So that's, you always make sure people know what they're getting into in advance, so that and you're still gonna probably have somebody be like, what are we supposed to do? And you say like, all right, combat in alphabetical order. Like the guy with a Z in his name will like post first. It's like, okay, well, I'm actually not picking on Jazz for that one. She's not done that. She actually knows her ABCs.
Yes.
Completely.
I know. I would never have made a Z character though if I'd realized it was always going to be
yeah,
alphabetical,
but you know what?
because I'm always last.
Right, but you know what that means, though, don't you?
Yeah, I get time to watch everybody.
Right, and you get to look like Tarvala. A lot of times, she was the last one for for months and months on end. I was almost always the last player, and because of that, she got all the great kills. As long as I rolled high, she so she's got under her belt. She's decapitated a giant. She's destroyed minotaurs. I mean, I've got the killing blow on so many things.
But yeah, let's talk about the dice rolls again. How me and Jazz the dice hate it.
Now, see the way with Jazz being last and the way she rolls. As the Minotaur dies, it will fall its dying corpse upon her body and squish her internal squishy organs.
Yes,
but she'll look cool doing it.
And I also get to type it way ahead of time.
Yes, that's true. But yeah, just getting the basic ground rules down. And if your guild does this stuff a lot of times you'll know. Just remember if there's new people coming in. I know we sometimes forget when there's somebody new that they don't know what the fuck is going on. So but everyone's usually patient and like, hey, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, oh yeah, crap, new guy. Once all that's established, all future replies should be done there, both as the characters and as the DM responses. This allows people to know that the story is progressing, as well as make sure that all in the area can see the responses. That's why I typically always even like if I'm DMing something or something like that, I always do it in group, so that way I'd never have to worry if somebody's just accidentally gotten out of the chat range bubble. Because you can't always tell. So, as there's only one DM and many players, it gives the players something to read while... Wait, I did that wrong. Both the players and DM responses. This allows people to know how the story is progressing, as well as make sure all in the area can see responses. This also lets the only one DM and the many players, so it gives players a chance to read while waiting for the DM to catch up. Basically, that's why I say I always try to tell a story, and even in combat, and every time we just don't be afraid to describe stuff. I don't know how often we can say that. I can never say it enough. I get it. Writing is somewhat of a personal and sometimes scary experience to be sharing with it, even live and roleplay at times. And I think, tell me if I'm wrong on this. I think at times when people are like, they get descriptive, like it was it's a balmy night. The birds are or the bugs are buzzing off in the distant weeds, and the wind gently blows through there. Just to set up the ambience of the area. I think people get nervous, so they just jump straight to, it's really dark and there's bugs around. Oh, look, there's an orc.
Yeah, you're right.
Set it up. It's okay. Yeah, that's our dog trying to puke on the carpet. Bad dog.
What? He was sneezing.
Same difference.
Got allergies too.
He does have allergies. He's a fat little allergy. You're an allergy. But yeah, don't be afraid to be descriptive, especially if you're DMing a thing and you're setting up ambience, or if you're just doing a role play with some like one-on-one with somebody, like a romantic evening. Don't be afraid to kiss the girl.
Let's get it on.
That's right.
Embellish. Don't be afraid to embellish.
Yeah, don't be afraid to embellish. Give some details. It's all right, And if they think it's silly, well, they're probably going to be too embarrassed for you to even say anything, so you won't even know.
True enough.
But really, I don't think I've ever seen it. Like, the only time I've ever complained about it is when somebody does it in, like, there's, like, 25 people around, and they do, like, 3 paragraphs of, that's probably not the time to do it. But if you're trying to run something or you're one-on-one, man, go for it, It's okay.
Know your audience.
Know your audience. I wish we could use that on the show.
Those brick text emoters, man, I tell you what, they get old hat real quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like you said, do it when it's necessary. Like, if you're trying to set up ambience, go for it. After that, try to, but like I was saying with the combat, I try to tell the story of how the combat's progressing based on the roles and based on what the other role players do. That's really the best, because I would much rather, Jazz has said she likes it, so I'm going to say Jazz likes it. I know, I guess Sib and Strafe don't. They don't ever give me compliments. Yeah.
Whatever.
No.
You'll live.
That's what I expected from you, Strafe. That's what I needed. I needed that. But I'd much rather do the combat roles of the one guy or the bad guy charges in at Jazz and she rolls low, so she tries to block his weapon, but unfortunately he counter reverses and hits her on the side, or and then so. But then instead of him, as he raises the final blow, Sib, who rolled high, comes at him from the side and shield punches him in the face so that he doesn't get a killing blow. That kind of thing. You tell this combat in the form of a story. You don't just do Jazz tries to block but gets hit. Sib hits him in the face. Yeah, I mean, you can do that. It's just not nearly as fun to read. I mean, we can.
Yeah.
We know that based on the roles. We don't need. We would. I personally, maybe this is just me. I would prefer a little bit more storytelling. So that's just how I go with it. Next is tells should be used only on an individual base. Strange visions, something you might catch out of the corner of your eye, etc., etc. Something that the whole group might not be privy to. Things like detect magic, detect life, are best done openly. That way, people that way, if more than one person casts the spell, you don't have to keep repeating yourself.
It's like the DM sliding you a note that only you should see.
Right. And like when somebody casts multiple, like it happens a lot at least in ESO, like where they cast Detect Life. One person might do it, and then another person's like, "Oh yeah, that's something I should do." So that's why I don't send it to them personally. I just do it out through the group, and while only that one person's gonna know, other people, if they may cast it or something like that, now they don't need me to individually tell them all the stuff. They can just see that it's already out there. It basically cuts out a step, an unnecessary step, especially for something like. That kind of stuff, because you may be in an event and there's probably going to be something bad. I mean, it's typically what happens. But another reason we had to do something like this is we were doing an event and there's multiple people around talking to NPCs, but the responses weren't being done in group. They were being done individually to the person talking, which then left out the 2 or 3 people standing around them, which should have been able to hear that. That's not a good way to do that, just because it's not telling a story, and it left people there for 30, 40 minutes with no response because we didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
and it just didn't work out well. And as a person that does very, very well with this stuff, it was just, I don't know if they were trying something new, but it did not work because it was boring. It was 30 minutes of people staring at a screen with no response to anything they said. Or if the response came to the individual that was next to them, how are they supposed to know that? You can't.
Yeah.
You gotta keep that stuff open. I'm sorry, trying to go through these quick. I know we're I don't want to. There's a bit of a list, so I was trying to hit them all. As a DM, you are given certain liberties with people's characters you would not normally have in one-on-one RP. How NPCs attack them or certain failures. That said, you should not make them look ridiculous. These are highly trained characters for the most part. If it's a combat thing or they have a specialty skill. If a character rolls low, it shouldn't be that they stab themselves or their fireball blows up in their hands. Or one poor guy, he was so paranoid he did paralyzing spells, and he rolls low so often. I think we talked about him last time. And he's literally been paralyzed by his own spell because of low rolls, which is something I would never, he's supposed to be a highly trained character. He wouldn't be so dumb as to be like pointing his finger, like looking down the barrel of a gun with magic. What's this?
I know,
I'm
yeah.
paralyzed.
Yeah, don't do that to people. That's
Right. It's not cool.
Yeah.
It makes people not want to come back.
It does. It's frustrating because you're making someone's character look like a complete idiot instead of maybe being outclassed, which is fine. I would, if you go up against, just an example, you go up against Muhammad Ali, and he whoops your ass.
Not shocking. Yeah.
Right. Respectable. Maybe you got a hit in. Awesome. Now you're going to go up against Muhammad Ali. You trip going over the rope. You fall back, crash your head on the skull. Crash your skull on the ground, and you die. Okay. Well, I mean, not really all that respectable. You didn't even get hit by him. You just sat there and was like, "Oh my god." That's it. There's a huge difference in, at least making the attempt as opposed to completely failing even getting into the ring. So instead what I do is a low roll is an opportunity for an NPC to dodge, block, or throw up their own ward, or even or maybe the aim was off, or they moved out of the way just in time. Telling people their character foiled. I think I meant to put failed. Way to go, autocorrect. Character failed the basic spell or combat skill is demoralizing to the player and is a liberty that shouldn't be taken with anyone else's character, even as the DM. It's just not cool, man.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, there's just not a whole lot else that you can say with that. You just, whether you're in charge of it, DMing it, just don't, and I've seen some people do it. I think they do it trying to be cute and funny, which, I mean, I can kind of get, but it's not okay. It's actually not either, really, because people take it kind of hard. Even I do. It's like, oh, my character's not a boob, She's got two big ones, but she's not one.
Right.
Boy, does she.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Kissing was checking that out, going, "Yeah, don't look too long. The elf will punch you in the face."
Yeah, she's actually one of those. She won't actually, unless you catch her open, licking the window and making groping gestures. She's one of those people that doesn't know what she looks like, really, which I thought was fun.
Quick bandit glance, going, that looks tasty.
Yep.
Pretend you didn't notice.
Motorboat.
Yep.
Anyway, injuries. They're going to happen. They probably should happen because it's also good roleplay. They give characters something to do, learn from, and build on. They literally build. Scars build character, especially in an MMO.
Yeah, totally.
That said, there is a limit to what you can do, even as a DM. It's often best to let the players decide like how badly they get injured. This is usually best done by describing like the hit they're gonna take, not the full injury incurred. So like slashes across your stomach versus slashes across your stomach and your guts spill out in a visceral spout of gore.
Yeah.
Often, often is the player, or often is not the player's going to take the injury, and the severity should be up to them. But as a DM, if you explain the second one, and like their guts are spilling out everywhere, the player doesn't have, you don't have the right, or the player does have the right for their character not to allow it. Like if you do that and they're like, yeah, dude, I don't got time for that tonight. So yeah, you're gonna have to just slice across the stomach. It's gonna have to be a thin thing. Maybe they'll be out for the night. That's cool. As a player in one of those things, if somebody does that, they're probably not gonna. It may end up being an ordeal. But if you really are like, that's not cool. You can't do that. You need to speak up. It's all right. Maybe you bring it in a tell. Maybe you do it after the fact, or you just kind of brush it off, whatever. But there are just some things that as a DM, you can't. I always try to, like with Roger, who you guys mentioned got hurt really bad in that. The reason he got hurt, he rolled a 1. But he kept rolling poorly, as we all did. And
Oh yeah.
one of the guys, like, he had burst his hand into flames, which is, all cool. And he went to punch the guy in the face, and the guy dodged and like chomped down on his hand, like fire and all. I mean, the guy was possessed. He didn't give a shit if he got hurt. So he and I looked it up. I forget how many hundreds of pounds the human mouth, and this was ×2 because their power level was increased due to the ooze, can bite down. It's hundreds of pounds of pressure, and it's bone crackingly bad, which is why Sip had to heal him.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then after that, he had like 2 or 3 of them on it, and they were just wailing on him, wailing on his chest and his ribs, and that's why he was so injured. I emoted that the guy. I did emote that the guy bit his hand, and then after that they managed to tackle him and start beating on him. But I did not say as to how badly his injuries were. He did that on his own. I mean, that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's how it should be. You set them up to decide how badly their injuries would be based off of what they know of their character, not what you know of their character.
They take it and run with it. It's always a good deal for everyone.
Yeah, and most people are going to be, and you may get the one or, guy here and there that's like, instantly heals with their healing factor, like Wolverine. Well, it's their RP to miss out on.
Purple Wookiees.
Right.
They come in all shades.
Yeah, and some of them have a healing factor. But healing roleplay can lead to some cool stuff. A nice one-on-one interaction with somebody, as long as there's not, if it's like a crazy amount of people, then it's like, be healed, be healed, be healed, and then they go back. That's just how I see it. And last bit for those DMing these things, as a DM, as we said earlier, don't bite off more than you can chew. If it's going to be something large scale or more people show up than you thought, don't be afraid to ask for a second hand for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Often as not, an officer of your guild or someone that does a lot of these things will step up and help you handle it and help keep things running. As I said, in an event, there's only one DM and many, many other people. You're only one person. Don't, if you need to say, hey, okay, I'm going to concentrate on the storytelling, can you help me make sure, like, people don't start talking OOC in the in-character part, or vice versa, or if somebody doesn't understand what's going on, that they can send it to you and ask you, and you can explain it to them so that I could just keep concentrating on that. It's a legitimate thing to do. And maybe you won't need it. Most people probably won't. But, if, you're expecting 8 people and 15 or 20 show up, man, don't be afraid to ask for help. It's all right. We're human, right? I mean, most of us. My mom
Most
always
of
said
us.
I was hatched. She did. She was really mean.
You're a lizard person? Well, that
she
explains
said.
everything.
Yeah. Well, I was born when V
Argonian.
came out, so
Good stuff.
I'm just saying.
Keep the small dogs away from civvies. Keep the small dogs away.
Yeah, Spanky. There's a reason he's fattening up.
Oh, jeez.
I ate his liver with some fava beans and an ice candy.
Ew.
Good stuff.
All
I
right.
think you're in good company though, because Wakichoto is I think has been hashed as well. He's always playing the reptilian sword in the game.
Yeah, he's been hanging out with that human Floyd too much. He's a bad influence on people, getting them to play lizard people.
Oh, he's been doing that since EQ1, man.
Oh, yeah. Yunfei's chat says she had a DM game once with 15 people and a DM. One combat took the better part of a night. I bet it
I would
did.
assume so.
That's
Like, one
brutal.
round of combat would take for frickin' ever.
Even with 5 of us,
Yeah.
one round took an hour. I mean, so yeah,
Right.
that would be intense.
Yeah.
It seems like a raid in Dungeons and Dragons, a constant raid. That'd be annoying.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah, that'd be rough. And it can get like that in RP, in MMO roleplay. It's just,
Yep.
it's a lot to keep track of. Then there's certain ways, like one of the things I have dual monitors, obviously. I originally did this for the show, but oh my god, I could never go back. If one of these monitors goes out,
Yeah.
I'm going out the next day like we did with Sib and buying a brand new one.
Yeah.
It is nice.
But one of the things
I am thinking about getting 2 myself.
you
so.
really should, Jazz. You'll
You
be
really
like,
should.
oh my god, how did I ever do without this?
Yeah.
It is
Then you'll
Well, I
get
had
three.
to for a little while, and I was starting to get used to it. Although it plays havoc with my tab, my alt tab. I'm used to alt tabbing to various things, and I
Oh,
had to
yeah.
get used to not being able to do that anymore. But I think I would like it because I wouldn't have to alt tab. I could just move
Exactly,
to
and
another
that's the
window.
biggest
so
thing.
That would be nice. Yeah.
Like what I do, I'll just for a quick setup before we go into those participating. I have my game on my big screen. Preferably, if you get 2 monitors, make sure they're the same resolution. I didn't have that option. I just used whatever the
yeah,
hell
that's
we
what
had
I
on.
had 2 different ones, and then that was not fun. I think I'll make sure that they match.
Yeah,
next.
make sure that they're both the same, because if I go from one monitor to the other at the very top, there's a 3-inch gap between one and the next. I do it just fine with it. But what I'll do, I have my game on the main screen, and on the second one, I have where the people are rolling in Discord, because we play ESO and it doesn't have one in its game. And then I have a Word document in Google Docs up in a list of every person's name. So as they roll, I write the name, or I write the number next to their name. So, and then since they've all done combat in alphabetical order and their names are in alphabetical order, I can just go down the list and and see who does what. And I can hit them all like that, or if I want to do a cross up where the people that were failing, maybe they get rescued by the person that rolled a 20. I'll do the failures first, because you're failures, and do the one that whoosh, saves them at the last second at the very end. Very dramatic and all that stuff. That's typically what my setup is. So I've got 3 windows open technically. I got Discord for one. I've got the game itself, and then I've got a Word document. And some people, you can always just write that. There's a time I used to just write it down on a piece of paper next to me, which just works too. I just got lazy and my writing's terrible, and I couldn't always read my numbers.
His writing is terrible. I
It's
will
terrible.
vouch for him.
Yeah,
Mine's terrible too.
Terrible.
I have to type. It's much
Terrible.
better.
terrible. Like Charles
Terrible.
Barkley.
This is
Terrible.
terrible.
Which, by the way, there's a puppy on my route. He's a little English bulldog. His name's Charles Barkley because he barks a lot. I know. He was named Zeus, which I actually preferred, but I'll give it. Charles Barkley's kind of cute. He's adorable. He's got more wrinkles every time I see him. Oh, he's a little cute little baby butt. It's adorable.
Oh gosh.
Listen to you.
I love bulldogs. They're just, I pinch the cheekies.
Okay.
So,
Just
for
got
those
embarrassing.
participating, I want a bulldog. Let's see. For those participating, there is only one DM keeping track of numbers, actions, and talking. Please be patient with them. Like, that's, like, seriously, just be patient. It's okay. There is a time where it goes from just being patient, maybe they're a slow typer, or it's more than it's more than they can keep track of, and that does get annoying. I get that. Like, I've left events because of that stuff too.
I have to say, if you do not type fast, and a lot of people don't type fast, but if you don't type fast, you need to have more than one person helping you. Mm-hmm. Because, and it's happened in this game, I literally walked away, cooked a hamburger, and came back, and it still wasn't my turn.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and if you're waiting, like, 15 minutes for a response. Right, exactly.
It was just ridiculous. These people were taking, and I am sorry, I'm a terrible snob when it comes to this, but...
Well, there's a reasonable when I'm doing it, Jazz, and it is like 3 to 4 paragraphs. I will say that because I get detailed
and it does
with
take.
It.
Yeah, that's fine.
But those paragraphs, the first paragraph doesn't come at the 10 or 15 minute mark. It comes at about the 5 minute, maybe 3 to 5 minutes.
It takes you between 3 to 5 minutes, and then another 3 to 5 minutes, and then another 3 to 5 minutes, and that's fine.
Right.
But
at
when
least
it's
you've got
taking
something
15
to
minutes
read
per paragraph, and you've got 3 paragraphs that you're writing out, holy God, either write it out while you're sitting there.
She went
so that all you have to do is copy and paste.
She went a little Negan there. Holy shit. Look at what we got the fuck over here.
It makes me crazy because, or like,
crazy.
Just have somebody help you. Or, get people in voice so that you can
You
just
all heard her
it.
Jazz quote, get help.
Get help. And that's not something I say easily. But god damn, if you type that slow, I'm sorry. It's not realistic.
We know her hot button issues, and I love pushing them.
He does. And there's a couple of times where he's had something, he was trying to make sure he got it right, and it took a little longer than normal, and I'll be like, you okay? You still there? So I'm terrible anyway. But
you're the worst.
I am.
I think some people just tab out, Jazz. They just don't pay attention.
There is that too. I think that's
a lot of distraction.
I think there's one in here about not if you're going to be part of the event, you got to pay attention. But on the DM's end, if you're taking 15 minutes to do your first paragraph, people they're going to lose interest. I hate to say it.
They're going to walk away.
Yeah. And which only makes it all the much slower. It's a self-fulfilling. It's a vicious, perpetual motion machine that just instead of going faster, it goes perpetually slower, but never actually stops. It's a very weird perpetual motion machine.
Yeah,
Lisa, in this house, we obey the laws of physics.
Full agreement.
I just want people to understand that when you are doing an event, everybody is waiting on you. So if you are a slow typer, maybe have somebody in voice with you who isn't.
And expect people to rage quit on you, because that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
If you have somebody that types fast that's willing to, and you can be in voice with them and say, and you're just kind of talking and they type for you, I can do that for people, and I have in the past.
Yeah. And
Please.
One thing Smiling Sorcerer said, and Jazz, I know you'll have a different view on this because you know of it. He says, I've gotten rejected from events for slow typing. It's understandable. He only types with one hand. But still amazes me how little people are willing to be patient, and that's why I offer voice acting, but it's a lot harder for people to get into.
Like, I role-played with him. He wasn't that bad, by the way.
Smiley, I was going to say that. I've talked with you before. With one hand, you're still faster than some of the people Jazz has taught. Actually, I take it back. You're faster than over half the people that Jazz is talking about.
Yeah, he was like warning me. I type really, really slow, and I'm like, I appreciate the heads up, but this is one-on-one
and then like his
RP,
next
and
response comes in like a reasonable, and you're like, oh, I thought you said it would be slow.
Right. I like tabbed out and was working on a diary entry, and I tabbed back, and he'd been waiting.
He's like a paragraph,
like,
right?
Oh, I'm God. I'm sorry. I thought it was going to take longer.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt bad because he was so much faster than I thought he was going to be.
Oh, yeah.
It was
fun.
Well,
apparently when you've only had one hand since childhood, you
may
learn
type
to do
a little
lot.
faster.
You've probably learned. I imagine he's not hunting and pecking with just his index finger at this point. You
One
can
would
correct
hope
me if I'm wrong, Smiley. I'm just gonna talk for you on your disability that you've lived with for your entire life, and I've known about
way to
for
go.
4 months.
Way to go.
Hey, I talk for people all the time. I have no problem with that. And that right, Straffe? That's right. See? Wait, hold on. It's got Kishmis?
No
no.
Kishmis, only
No
Zool.
Kishmis.
And yeah, bro, I agree. You just beat me to it.
I know. That was the joke.
That was the point. I know.
It's that old Wolf was it Simpsons Wolf? That was the joke. Laugh now.
Wolf Castle.
Wolf
Yeah.
Castle.
Now you're talking like Zasher now.
The goggles, they do nothing.
Chicago, say do nothing.
I love it because when we're role playing, Strayface in voice with me a lot of times, and he's talking what my character says, and it's great because that's exactly how I hear him talk in my head. He talks like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Kizzy,
So it
come
always-
on. Let's go get some
Yes.
food. Maybe the pretty
I'm s-
girls are downstairs.
Get to the chopper.
It's true. He'll sit there and whatever I type, he'll read it, and I'll just die. It's so perfect.
Yeah.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
can I say something on that? Being in voice, if you're running an event,
Oh, I
don't
didn't put that
just
in
be
there. That's a good one.
willy-nilly in voice. Don't
Get out
do
of
it.
voice. Get
Yes.
out of voice if you're not taking advantage of it. Get out of voice for the love
Yes.
of God.
Yeah.
Because-
Distraction unlimited.
Yes, exactly. So if you're DMing, unless you're in voice with somebody who's helping you, walk away.
Yeah, but just because talking is a lot faster than typing, I get that. But like someone like me, the reason I don't do voice I don't even do it while I'm role playing. Not even with these assholes. I can't do it because I'm an entertainer by nature. I like to try to make people laugh and tell goofy stories and do shit. And I can do one or the other.
It's true. He never joins us.
Yeah,
Yet
and
we
it's-
still
and it's-
role play and chat with each other. I don't know how we do it, but we do it.
Yeah, they
But
do just
we're
fine.
better at it, I think, because
can't
we
do
don't
it.
get as distracted, and we don't care if we pause.
Right,
while we're
and
talking.
I don't know if it's like some ADHD thing. I've never been tested, and I probably never will because I'm not taking any more medications than I already do.
Whoa, that laugh.
What was that?
I don't know what you're talking about. We have no idea what's going on, do we?
Jazz, it's time for us to leave.
Terrifying.
Time to leave, Jazz.
But I can't do that. I end up chatting. I like to chat. I don't know if anyone's aware of this. I like talking.
No, not
Yes.
you.
Right?
No,
I know.
you
I know.
Never you.
I keep it very, very well hidden.
We can't tell by how many times you interrupt. Our
What?
talking.
I don't ever
Yeah.
interrupt anybody.
Mhm.
What are you talking about?
You gotta
Moving
watch
on to
that
number
one.
3.
Uh-huh.
Oh, actually, it's number 2. You are not the only one at the event. It's about everyone there. Everyone will get some time to shine in the spotlight, but no one person is going to get it all, nor should they try. Remember, this is for those participating in an event, not running it. Also, though, that runs if you're running the event so that you're the only one shining, don't do that either. That's really bad. And that's why my rule is I typically don't participate in my own events with my character. That way I don't have to worry about it. I don't even want the appearance of it. Because I know I won't do that. But sometimes, like if the rules are really good and you have to DM for yourself, I try to avoid the appearance of it. I don't even want to go there with it at all. It's more of a headache than I'm willing to put up with. Listen to instructions as they are given and pay attention and communicate. If the DM tells you not to pass them, don't pass them. They'll move up when it's time. This help keeps things and people from wandering off. Now, if it's free range RP, then, free range away. But do as instructed. The end.
That may be a little hard for you. Yeah.
I always do what I'm told. At least in an event.
Well, no, you do. I'm just saying when people do it, I can hear it in your voice when you're typing. I can feel the staccato type.
Yeah, I will say I did lose my nerve the other day during the event, but that wasn't completely my fault. Thanks, Zos, for introducing a new bug into the game with your shitty patch of just putting in loot crates.
Yeah.
Way to
Oh,
go,
yeah.
assholes. But then someone, I was like, all right, let's give people time. What happened for those not playing ESO? They introduced a bug that apparently the new outfit system doesn't always go away when you want it to. Now, when you zone,
Yep.
like your outfit
Yep.
just gets stuck on. Like you can switch to other outfits, but you can't turn it off to show your armor. You can do it
Zasher was
eventually,
looking
maybe.
like Conan the Murr. the other
Right.
night.
Yeah, he was.
So
Yep.
I was trying to give people time, and somebody kept clicking the "Are you ready to roll?" You know, like it
Oh
was.
my
Wait,
god!
wait,
I
wait.
remember that. Yeah.
And I was in the
Wait,
middle
dude,
of typing,
hey.
and I'm like, "Whoever's doing that, could you fucking stop?" Like,
Ashen,
That was great.
I lost my shit. I will admit, I lost my shit.
Ashen, do your check. I think.
Hold on. Is Kishmas here?
Yes, he is.
Oh my gosh.
Hey.
Hey!
All right, so thanks everybody for coming to RPMO Radio. No, just kidding. What's going on, the Kish of the Mass?
We've got a full
know.
crew.
Yeah.
Things and stuff.
Full crew in the house.
Don't ever do that again.
Right.
Raise the roof, Jazz.
You are way too white to be saying that.
I know, right?
You
That's
don't
why
even
it's
say
fun.
that anymore. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's why she's way too white, because no one else would say that. House moms.
How's your RP going, Kish?
No, it's RP.
How's
Last
your
time I saw Roger, he was all bummed up in the freaking clinic.
how's your ERP
Pretty
going?
much. Fantastic.
Oh right, fist bump, buddy. Yeah.
I was gonna say I've seen him in his revelry all week. I was like, good lord,
Hey man,
take a break, vitamin E, take a water drink and something.
hey, man, every night I log in. If there's not really anything going on, I'll stay in the reverie and say, "Hey, if anyone wants to RP with Raj, go to his home."
I did that once. It was awful. He was just butt naked, just staring at pictures of guars. It was really creepy.
Oh, why do you judge?
Why wouldn't I?
'Cause I thought you loved me.
It just got weird in here real quick.
I love
War weirdness.
so much. Okay, so the other one,
Jeez.
AFK. If you do it, let others know. For the love of God, it's not hard. Be right
true.
back. AFK, and you can even do BRB AFK. It's literally 6 letters and a space. Do it.
Don't be lazy.
I'm a little guilty on this one.
I do too, because
I
if my
will
kids
jump
freak
up and
out,
walk away
I will
so
just
fast.
jump up and run.
Right.
But beyond that, I will always say that.
There's little things like
And
that.
I hate to say, gotta go tinkle. I'll be right back.
Well, that's why you just say BRB AFK.
You just say BRB, yeah.
Yeah,
Just say
you-
BRB.
It's not like you're gonna sit there and say, "Excuse me, my fellow guildies.
Right.
I am going to use my penile function to urinate."
Yeah, there you go.
You're not going to say that
Or go off.
unless you.
Oh my
I'll
god.
definitely do that.
Or
Yeah,
go off of Chris
Jazz
Pratt's,
kids.
Pratt's advice on how to poop at a party. You know, you can do that
Oh
too.
gosh,
That was such a
That's
great.
such a good.
if Jazz's kids catch the kitchen on fire, she'll straight ninja on you. Just be ready for
Oh yeah. Well, naturally. I mean, but yeah, you know, an entire event of 10 people can be held up by them waiting on one person that went AFK without saying anything, and
Yep.
or just as bad, alt tabbed out. You know, don't do that. Get another monitor or something, or
That's the beauty of 2 monitors.
or a phone or a pad, or you know, there's lots of other ways to do that without having to alt tab all the time now.
Sorry, LOL was AFK. That's not okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. That's
LOL
really
was AFK. Yeah, it's still 6 letters. Does not help anybody when they've been
Yeah.
like, you know, like the
My
other night
friend-
when we were doing that thing, Seb on her ordinator, she had gone AFK. She didn't say anything because it was a phone call. However, I knew she was AFK, and how did I know that? Because her character was way the fuck off, anywhere near anybody actually role playing. So it's like, okay, I know this. This happens to her. I figured it out. You know, I get that. I you know, sometimes like shit comes up, but if you can, especially even a phone call, it's not that hard to be like AFK phone. You know, it's okay. Do that. It's okay. I do that. It, you know, I've done other 6 letters. AFK, mom. It's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a long while.
Guys, I'm just going to log off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be right back. I love you, Mom. If you ever listen to this, I doubt it. Please, for the love of God, don't. If it's alphabetical order combat, try to use your remote. Have your remote ready to fire out beforehand. Obviously, those at the top of the list don't have this luxury, but everyone else should take advantage of that time. So,
Yep.
people first and foremost should, you kind of have to wait for the DM to post it. So the first 2, maybe 3 people, you just do your best you can. Obviously, everyone understands that, but after that, it should be like a fucking machine gun. Ba, 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 ba.
Yep.
But and then when we hit one person,
People start getting a rhythm, and it's just getting fun. So
yeah, don't break the rhythm.
don't break the rhythm. Exactly.
Yeah, it's the rhythm of the night. Don't break the rhythm of the night.
Cue Lionel Richie.
Richie's the bro.
That's right. He is one sexy individual.
He's a good dude.
So after that, we have. Oh wait, I don't know my numbers. There we go. Not everything needs to be War and Peace. I know this is contrary to what I said before, but this is as a participant, not as the DM. Excuse me, and I burped in the mic. There we go. That's awesome. You're welcome. That's audio gold. Not everything needs to be War and Peace, but nor does it need to be attacks with sword.
Yeah, that's fail.
Raises shield.
That's when you hit him with this, Ash, and you say, "Oh, you're going to attack the
Throws
sword."
punch.
I'm going to have my snake kick you, EQ1 style,
Truth.
or the fish. Either way.
Yeah, the fish chase
love-
you across the entire zone.
Yeah, when I fought my barracuda for my leaf blower, the barracuda met me on land. It was a land barracuda. Apparently, it just swam right up onto shore because I didn't want to fight it in the water, and it swam just fine, floating in the air 3 feet above the ground. The good old days.
Yep.
They don't come back. Not even on a progression server.
No.
No.
Unless you play EQ1 emulator.
Yeah, the Project 99.
Yep.
Who follow
You
us,
can
by
still
the way.
experience-
Shout out to Project 1999.
Welcome back.
Heck yeah, Project 1999 in the house.
They post some pictures on their. If you're not following their Instagram and you've ever played EverQuest 1, follow that Project 1999 on Instagram. You'll see some
too.
classic photos.
You can
Ah,
still experience
so
the
good.
terror of lower guck and trying to get out when everything goes south.
Corpse run.
Yeah, for real.
And let's see here. If you have an issue and it'll derail the entire event, send it in a tell or wait until it's over. Minor things like, hey, you missed me, or clarifications on how many bad guys are left, is one thing. Like that. That's probably not a bad thing just to put out there in, parentheses in the group chat just to make sure. But if it's like a major problem or like a disagreement, send it in a tell. But like I said, hey, you missed me, like when someone does that to me, I'm like, oh shit, hold on, boop, and I go back read it and I give them a quick okay, here's what happened, here's what you did. Or if somebody wants to know where the bad guys are, how many are left, if one person's needing clarification, chances are there might be a few others that haven't asked, but they could also, it doesn't hurt to put everybody back on the same page. It's fairly straightforward, but
I think we lost Kishmas.
he had to restart
He had
his
to
router.
reset his modem. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Modem. Router.
He is a modem.
He's a modem head. I'm trying to think. Most of the major issues are going to be stuff that you completely disagree. Like I said earlier, with the you spilled somebody's guts, and they're like, yeah, no, you didn't. Send that one in a tell. Give them the opportunity not to call them out on the carpet on their bullshit. They are running an event. Maybe they lost their head for a second. But if it's something major that's going to start a fight or an argument, just do it in a tell.
Yeah.
And if things aren't going well or you need to leave, just do it. Do it quietly. Do it with minimal fuss. If it's something you think needs to be addressed, I've actually done it, and I've sent them a tell like listen, it's not personal, but this is just taking too long. So I'm gonna have to bail out. I can help you with what you've really has gone wrong. Like the thing with the tells is like I gave him advice after that, and it's like this
All
this is
F4
not
is
a way
your
to do
friend.
it. What's that?
Alt F4 is your friend.
Yes.
Gotta
It's
love
also
it.
how you check your guild bank without having to go to a banker.
There you go.
Really?
Yeah.
Evil laugh. Evil laugh.
I remember when people used to do that back in EQ1 and EQ2 early
Yeah.
on.
How do I do this?
Alt F4. Or how do I take a screenshot was a big one. Alt F4. And then, boop, logs it off.
Yeah, you're like, everybody's supposed to
Hey.
have it.
How do I upgrade my computer software?
Tell him
Delete
type
System
/Q.
32.
Oh,
Delete System 32.
oh,
Oh,
no,
good times.
bad Kishmis.
That's pretty diabolical.
Good times.
One of my favorites is an old shirt I saw. I think it was from VG Cats. It was
Oh my god. That's
how-
old school.
how I mine for fish. Every time I see Jazz, every time I see you fishing, Jazz, that's what I think of is you mining for fish.
Warcraft 3 used to have, you click on the units and they would say goofy stuff after a while. The healing elf sorceress would say, for the end of the world spell, press Control, Alt, Delete.
Can I just say one thing I really missed from EverQuest 1 was I forget what Strafe, which was it the druids that could actually start and stop the rain in an entire zone with a spell.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Clear
so
the sky. It was
cool.
so cool.
Yeah. Sorry, that's just a random memory of like something that I really, really loved on my druid. I could just go into a zone that was raining and be like Karana that was raining all the time and be like,
Yep.
boop. Let there
rain has
be
ended.
light.
Time to party.
So, all right. Well, that's actually all we had for those participating. If you're if it's just going to shit or it's being 30 minutes between responses and things like that, just quietly bow out. Alt 4, F4 if you have to. I just told them like, listen, you guys, good luck. I gotta go. Boop. Bye. It's not worth the frustration. I've only got so much time, and I'm not sitting in front of a computer just waiting 30 minutes for one person to respond. It's just not really worth
Be
my
realistic.
time.
Nobody wants that, man.
Yeah, it's not worth my time.
Actually,
Well, yeah, because you have so much time to waste.
Oh, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go by his place in the Reverie, it's like all night long.
Looks like a Jackson
nice.
Pollock painting under a black light.
Hell, I might have to get a bigger house since Raj is having another kid.
Yeah, you know how that happens, right?
Family is growing.
I think it took my actual dad about 20 years to figure out how those things kept showing up. So, yeah. Well, appreciate everybody listening. Anybody have any final thoughts on any of this stuff?
To be
I
blunt,
think we pretty covered it, but
to be blunt, don't be a fucking pussy.
Jeez.
Well, that's just a good life lesson, really.
I mean,
It's universal.
It's universal. How do you?
It works for
How
everything.
do you mean that in now I have to know. How do you mean that in terms of this? Like,
Speak your mind. If you don't speak it at all, it's
Okay.
not going to change.
right? Yeah, that makes
If you're afraid to say something, do it in tells.
yeah.
If you want
Ask
to be
and you will
anonymous, that's
receive.
also okay. I
It's-
prefer not to be anonymous because I like people to know what I think. Sometimes.
No.
it's the whole idea of the closed mouth don't get fed.
Exactly.
That's true. Very, very true. But yes, a lot of this stuff, it seems like it may be common sense when you hear it, but honestly, it's not. A lot of people, they don't think on these kinds of things like the losers at this podcast do. We've been doing it too long, unfortunately.
We're awesome, man.
Haha, yeet.
Okay, what is this yeet thing I keep seeing? Is this some new Bay
It's the
thing?
youth. It's the youth thing. They all do it from
It's
10 years old to 30.
Is it the new?
It's-
It's the new Bay or something, isn't it?
Sort of. It's just they instead of saying yes, they say yeah.
I
And
hate
it-
that,
and
man.
And
I've
it
seen it.
got shorted to ye. And my 13-year-old
No, it's
does
longer.
It drives me insane.
Yeah, it is Y-E. Yeet is W-E-E-T. That's longer. It's not shorter.
Well, all I know is that is totes cray cray. am I doing that right? I
This
did.
That
is
was
Am I,
pretty good.
2014.
am I cool now? Bay?
No.
No.
No,
What about it, Bay?
No.
you're not cool now.
BB?
Stop it.
BB.
You know, when I first saw the
Like a
Bay stuff, I
BB
thought it was
gun?
like short for Sibays. I was like, wait a minute. How do they know? Oh, they're the same Bay. What are they doing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're just lazy.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like God damn it! I'm just gonna show my
Kids
age again.
today, kids today, Kishmas. Kids
I,
today.
I feel like fucking Dr. Evil in Austin Powers. Like, I'm hip, I'm cool. Ducka 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 doing the Macarena. He's like, whoa. Yeah.
No.
I'm. My mom says I'm cool.
That's all that matters.
Right. She's taking me out for Japanese food on Thursday for my birthday. That was on May 31st.
Nice.
I will take free food whenever I can get it.
Yeah, Ronar, all the kids
Exactly.
are doing that. I don't know. I don't get it, but that's their deal.
Yep. My sons, I'll do it. And it drives me crazy. They go, yee. And I'm like, how hard is it to just say yes?
Slap.
It's not any harder. Just finish the damn word.
No.
Just drives me insane. They go, Y-E. And they'll send it to me instead of yes. And I'm just like, twitch, twitch, twitch.
How you fix that, right, Jazz?
Throw the phone at him. Done that. Didn't help.
Promote points off their detention levels, like sending them up to freaking groundation if they don't complete their sentences.
Yeah, that's probably helpful. Yeah.
I mean, that's how my mom did it. She was an imperial hard ass, but you know.
So, all right. Well, enough making fun of the youth of today, because you're all frankly awful.
Here, here.
Hey, listen. You're the reason why rent's $3,500. So
not
don't
No.
complain to me.
That's my mom's fault, actually.
I
had
was
nothing
gonna
to do
say,
with it.
yeah.
I was about to
that's-
say.
Also,
That's the yuppies, not us.
and you live in New York. That's your fault for not being smart enough to move out, dumbass.
I'm sorry. I can't just, pull my mother and say, no, you should give birth to me in Montana or some other fucking shit-ass state.
I was born in California. It didn't stop me from leaving.
Rent in Tama
Hey,
is
man,
about
if you
$750,
be-
but then you have to live in Tama.
Hey,
So,
man, I'm not looking to stay here.
You better not be.
You know,
High five, Ashton.
I'll
I've got
move
enough
to
room.
somewhere fucking barren. I don't give a
I've
shit.
got a room for you. I'll just come visit you at night. Late at night. So with that, this is RPMMO Radio, 48th episode. I'm, of course, your host, Ashton Phoenix, and with appreciate Jazz, Kishma Sib, Strafe,
Yeet.
for the love of God, Rahanar and Yunfei for helping moderate, even though we couldn't do our caller thing. We didn't have any callers today, so if you want to call in next time, rpmradio.com/discord. If you want to visit our website, rpmradio.com without the Discord. We're at Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, all those things. We appreciate every single one of you for listening and tuning in. Seriously, it's awesome. We are 2 episodes away from Big 50, the number 50. We will be talking about something very near and dear to everybody's hearts, especially these days. Why politics is not something that you should talk about, as well as starting maybe some campaigns of our own. Something you might get to vote on. So, with that, I hope everyone will tune in next time for Halflings. What do they do now? They die. Next time on RPMMO Radio. Good night, everybody! Music, as always, is provided by Husky by the Geek. He's even written down, I can't say it right. Visit him at youtube.com/huskybythegeek to hear all his great video game rock covers and original music. You rock, Husky.